Oh, it's the volume on this. Can the Zoom audience hear from the mic in the room? Somebody type into the chat.
We can hear.
New television, so. Somebody in the Zoom room, just take yourself off mute and say something.
We can hear you.
You're testing your volume.
That's not good.
Go to the first option up top there. You're right, I think. It's the speaker. Drop down next one over. Do a different speaker.
Where it says speakers to Yeti stereo micro.
Yes,
So speakers.
Do the same system. And just try.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay.
I'm gonna turn that down a little
Now
bit.
I can turn
Okay,
it down.
good evening. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Town of Thompson Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Is Monday, February 27th, here in the Marlstone Community Room in Town Hall and also on Zoom. We do have two public hearings tonight. If you're interested in speaking in either public hearing, we do have a sign-up sheet and we'll go in order of those. You don't need to sign up to speak, but it will help us organize the public hearing if you are interested. For the public hearing and for citizens' comments, please do state your name and address for the record. Limit your remarks to 3 minutes and direct your comments to the chair in a civil and respectful manner. I'd ask us now to please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands.
We will begin with the roll call.
Randy Blackman. Dave Poplawski.
John Rice.
Ryan Santos.
Ray Williams.
Jane Solacey.
Mike Krogel.
Alvin Hill. Mr. Linky,
John B. Lanky.
Ms. Orr,
Hi, Zor Levac here.
I think that's everyone.
Charlene's not up there.
I don't see Charlene now.
Charlene emailed me. She's not going to make it in tonight.
Okay, and with that, we will seat Mr. Santos for Ms. Langlois. Item 3, public hearing. Application 23-01, applicant Green Valley Self Storage LLC. Zachary Labonte, property owner of 72 Main Street, KKB Acquisition LLC, 1919 Flower Circle, Thomasville, Georgia. Map 169, block 88, lot 65A, 65, and 64. 4.2 acres, 3 lots to develop storage rental facilities, climate controlled and office building under Article 4F, Section 2-27. For the applicant.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Zachary Labonte. My wife Rebecca, we're the owners of Green Valley Self Storage. We're looking to develop property 72 Main Street, former Superior Bakery, into a climate controlled self storage. The property is 40,000 square feet. The main level, which is 31,000 square feet, will be the climate controlled self storage. Basically, heating and cooling systems will be installed to maintain the temperature and the relative humidity. There are loading docks on one side of the building where customers will have access for loading into the building with moving trucks and so easy entrance, easy access. We'll also be putting a ramp so that we can have, foot traffic, so we can walk up into the building. There's existing bathrooms in there. That'll stay. There's also offices in the front, so we can operate the business out of there. The total rentable square feet, once it's built out, is 248 storage units, varying sizes to fit within the space. The lower level of the property is going to be offered to local businesses to operate out of there for the office. There's, as I mentioned, the 10,000 square feet, so there are loading docks as well. But the primary objective will be for office space to operate out of their local business out of contractors, electricians, plumbers, service companies. So the goal will be to, as far as the footprint of the building, we're not changing that. So we'll be enhancing the building from the outside, pressure washing it, painting it, updating the windows and doors. There's old wood frame windows in there. So we'll be putting in new vinyl, black windows, new doors, just to improve the aesthetics. Overall, there is an existing building on the property as well, 78 Main Street, which is a duplex. There was a demo permit, 2011 issued for that property. It's still standing, but the plan will be to remove that and replace it with greenery. So from the outside, the property will certainly be enhanced. We'll put in a flag and a sign. That's essentially the overview. Yep, so also with the property is its own commercial, the 2,700 square foot house building. So out of there, we'll offer space for rent, also to local businesses, hopefully an accountant, maybe a medical office, some sort of local business to get in there and operate out of. So Paul can talk. This is Paul, the surveyor, Paul Terwilliger. He can speak of the overall.
Yeah, for the record, my name is Paul Terwilliger. I'm licensed land surveyor with PZC Survey Associates.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your name for, because I'm taking minutes.
It's Paul Terwilliger.
Terwilliger, thank you.
I prepared the plan for Zach. So I can kind of go over what, as far as the site goes, there aren't a lot of changes that we're proposing. There's an existing gravel parking area, drive around area that pretty much surrounds the building. There's an area, this lighter area on the plan here. These are existing paved areas. They're going to remain as a paved apron here. He's proposing to connect from the apron around to this parking area with new pavement in here. Create 5 parking spaces down here in the front, and then kind of square off this area up to the south side of the building to create some additional parking in that area there. So that's a ramp will be installed coming from the parking area up to an existing loading dock here for a main entrance, to make it easier for people to bring their items in and out. There are 2 existing loading dock bays here that will be utilized for entering and exiting with items that people want to store in their units. That's pretty much it. As far as we had an engineer look at the site to see if the paving that we're proposing is going to have any adverse effect on the drainage of the site. It's currently compressed gravel, and his opinion in his report was that it's pretty negligible. if we pave it versus what's there now. We are proposing to, during demolition of this house, we'll create a recessed area here. So any stormwater will be guided to that area where it can settle before, it'll infiltrate into the ground in that area. Any overflow run into an existing catch basin over here. The drainage computations show that with that depression there will actually be a decrease in the site runoff after we're done. So the drainage should be should not be. And as far as the property, it is currently 3 separate pieces of property. 2 of them here where this existing house to be demolished. And where the existing main building are, will be combined into one property. And utilized as one site. The boundary line between the property with this other building and the main building here will be adjusted. It's currently right up against this building. It'll be adjusted over to create a new lot around this building. And they'll still utilize the existing access that they're using now. They'll just be granted a right of way over that. This lot will still have frontage on the road, so it will comport the zoning in that respect. So let's move on. What we're proposing here. I think there's
Questions for anyone? And this is a public hearing, so sorry if you could just
1857 First Street.
I'm sorry, could you just say your name again for me?
Richard Keefe,
Keith,
Keefe.
thank you.
Does that mean the only entrances are from Main Street? Yes. That's not gonna change. Correct. Yeah, it's way too steep in the back. It's good.
Rebecca Cabellas, I'm representing 56 Main Street. We're adjoining to the backside of the house property, not the one for demolition. My concerns are when Superior Bakery owned it, there's a tree line and a retaining wall. The trees are very overgrown. There's some very old ones. We've had companies come out and trim off what's overhanging on our property. We've asked the selectmen prior years back if anything could be done, and we've asked the bakery to do something with it, and we've gotten no response on it. There's some really dangerous trees that could possibly fall on our house. We don't know if new owners could maybe look at that or do something with it, or maybe Superior Bakery before they change hands can maybe clean that up a little bit. Also, there's a drainage issue coming off of that retaining wall. Half the driveway's washed out. It's basically on the adjoining property, which is a rental unit, and the driveway, we share it. Half of it kind of slopes and kind of washes out. I do get a puddle in my basement. I have a stone basement. It's an old house. So if there's gonna be any kind of development back there moving around, it's probably gonna change more drainage and present a problem for our house.
Could you explain to me which house?
56 Main Street.
6 Main Street, is that over here?
I believe so. We're right on the retaining wall, so your office building, yeah,
Yeah.
so up in here.
We have no proposal for any activity over in that area. Any drainage is gonna go in this direction.
So they're not gonna do anything with the back of this property, so the hazardous trees are gonna remain.
No, well, that's between you and them. Yeah, we certainly will look at it.
Yeah, there's a couple really bad ones, big ones, and like I said, we've deaded the ones that have overhung our property, and we've contacted Superior Bakery a couple of times, and it's dead ears.
Okay.
Nobody wants to do anything, and we've even proposed letting our guys, and we would pay for it if we could have access to the property, and it was denied, so.
Okay. Yeah, certainly take a look.
thank you. Is there anyone online yet?
It's easier for me to do that. Stop the share. If anyone is in the Zoom room who would like to make a comment, the easiest thing for us is if you use the raise hand function If you can't use the raise hand function, you can just take yourself off mute.
Sir.
David Hancock, 131 Sunset Hill. Just a question about demo the house, why? Why are they demoing the house? Why not sell it? Just wondering.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, there was a demolition permit approved back in 2011. And the house has been sitting open for a long time. You know, the foundation is deteriorating and crumbling in on the back side of that building, so it's just, you know, substantial damage.
I mean, would you guys be interested in selling? I buy decrepit houses in town and, you know, revitalize them instead of just letting the tax dollars and everything go to, you know, be in the. Where would you rather have an open space? You know, that's, I guess, where I'm getting at.
I
Thank
mean,
you, Mr. Hancock. Mr. Labonte.
based upon what I saw when I was looking at the building going through it, I mean, as I mentioned, it's in rough shape. So my current plan is to remove the property, remove that house.
Thank you, Mr. Hancock. Any questions for the applicant?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Now, did Superior Bakery have a suppression system in this building? I would assume they did.
Yeah, so there is a fixed fire extinguishing system from the city water system. That is currently inside of the building. There is, I actually had a fire engineer analyze the building, because that was one of the unknowns to me is how the condition of the system was, and if the flow of the city water supply was sufficient to allow the coverage and protection for that building and the intended use. And ultimately, the answer was further to a replacement of the main in the street, which was done a couple of years ago. That substantially helped that system, the overall performance of that system.
Is there any plans to upgrade it at all? Since you're gonna have storage versus what was there originally?
Right, so for storage, right now, the system was classified as ordinary hazard 1. So for self-storage, you need a minimum of ordinary hazard 2. So in the main space up above, there's an area which was freezers at one time, and there is no suppression system there. So we need to add on to basically have it so that there is coverage in that area. But the existing system that is there is capable with the flow rates that are there to provide that level of protection that's necessary.
Yeah, you're gonna be going, when you get a building permit, you're gonna be asked all those questions anyway.
Yeah, right, exactly. So,
Now, how about exterior lighting?
so exterior lighting, the building, we plan to just upgrade the existing lighting that's there.
Maybe 24/7?
The lighting on the property, probably motion or motion, but
Would be all downcast.
photo cells, yeah, exactly. There's an existing light that's out there in the parking lot. But aside from that, we weren't proposing to add any additional lighting in the parking lot.
You know, I did some research on your company, and I like the Coffee Cup Bakery, KPMG.
So that is an acquisition company, basically Flowers Foods, that bought Superior Bakery.
Right.
So it's it's the biggest bread company that's out there. So that's not me.
That's who
I'm
you're
Green Valley,
buying
so,
it from.
right? Like, that's a multi-million-dollar company. I'm just a local guy, looking to revitalize a building and bring it back to life. So we'd like to work into, like maybe like the Rose, we'll have some names of some of the bread that they made, little throwbacks or something fun like that, but
Any plans for solar?
yeah, one day
You've
for
got a
sure.
perfect area, this being south.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Rice and then Mr. Santos.
The existing building that you're not gonna demolish, it doesn't show a lot of parking spaces. If you're gonna make office space out of it, I'm looking, I don't know. I looked at, it, I think there's only probably 3 parking spaces on that side.
So the pavement over there goes basically in front of the whole house, so. I mean, I would anticipate you could easily park 6 cars there.
Yeah, that's what it said in your thing, but I don't see it lined out as
Yeah.
such. It just says
Okay,
a paved area.
yeah. Okay, I mean, it is, we're not changing the footprint of that paving, but I can say that there is adequate space there. And, parking.
Anything else, Mr.
No,
Mr. Santos?
Just the light gray and the dark gray.
No, the
What does that
light gray is existing pavement, the dark gray is proposed pavement.
I just don't see the existing pavement on Google Earth here, but I guess that's besides the point.
Yeah, it's, I mean, there's a lot of trucks that went over there, so it, you know, some of it is cracked and it's starting to.
Yeah, okay, so the report said 12,000 square feet of existing blacktop. Was there a perk test done over there to confirm that the water went off there can handle that new infiltration system that you're gonna put in on the south
We're
side?
not
Can
really
handle
putting
that?
a system as such.
Well, all right, yeah, so like a pond.
It's basically just a place for the water to settle and then eventually it'll infiltrate in. I believe the engineer based that on the soils maps for the area.
Yeah.
We didn't do any actual test bits on this.
I don't know if they near.
They have.
Yeah, I saw,
Yeah.
it. I saw it. Okay.
I'm,
I just want to make a note that going back there, I was looking to buy the house. They wouldn't be able to put that infiltration system in without demoing that place. It's like right up against it, right? So
I just hate seeing us lose more buildings.
totally understood. I just want to make a note about that for you. Just talk to me about the daily operation of this thing. So somebody's gonna drive in and there's this one point of entry, then they back their car in at the loading area.
well, so the building is set up so that the main traffic pattern will be coming in off of this driveway here.
Yep.
Where we have the loading docks and also a ramp. There is also access on this side of the building, there's a double door, so you have entrance off this side of the building as well. So depending upon where your unit is within the building, you know, it'll be easier to get to from this side versus that side. I mean. So the storage facility will be open, you know, proposing from 7 to 7. And based upon that amount of units, we anticipate the daily traffic to be between 10 and 15 cars a day.
Okay.
To the site.
Okay.
So in comparison to Superior Bakery, when they were up and running, they had maybe 38 to 40 cars a day, including trucks.
Property that's to the right. Is this a private residence right here? This one right here? Yeah, to the right.
This one here,
Yeah.
there's a.
Oh, is that the-
That's a day.
I believe there's a daycare.
Yeah, the building blocks, that building blocks. Okay.
Yeah, I went and spoke with them just to introduce myself, tell them what I was looking to do. And they were very receptive to what I was
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, so no one's living there, right? Like, is there a public building above there? I was worried about the day-to-day traffic coming there and building block and stuff like that, but is there somebody living in that building? Does anybody know that? Okay, so it's just a business.
Right.
Okay,
If I had more traffic than we do.
probably does. Okay, I'm all set. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Santos. Mr. Williams?
The ramp you're putting in, is that just for foot traffic or is that gonna be something for, you know, like, they're gonna be fork trucks for to bring people's stuff and it don't come in?
No, not,
A truck that, you know, that goes up to the docks?
yeah, no, so the ramp will just be for foot traffic. Yeah, because it'll go to basically French doors, so there's no. Anyways, forklift that'll be going up and down the ramp. Just foot traffic.
Just one.
I just want to make a quick
Ms.
comment.
Callis?
Being a resident there for 10 years, when Superior Bakery was up and running, there was a lot of trash on the road. Nip bottles, snack bags, all that stuff really light and it blows around. So, you know, people's personal items, plastic bags. I don't know if maybe you might think about maybe putting a fence and enclosing it.
Okay, well, host recognizes you. And this 20
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Thank you. Was that a?
That was
comment or
just
not?
somebody, no, it was
Second.
somebody coming in on a phone. I had to mute.
Mr.
Just
Santos,
one more. Yeah, you have security cameras up there?
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be keypad access to get into the building, so customers only. And then there'll be security cameras on, all the corners of the building, just so we can monitor what's going on.
Mr. Poplawski.
So I guess this question is for the surveyor. On the plans, it shows catch basins that don't connect to one another, and I mentioned this last month when you were here, I see the proposed, there's catch basin up top, right about the 5.6 acre delineation up top. So there's a catch basin there that goes pretty much nowhere. And then down below at the corner of the building, there's another catch basin. And, you got a lot of proposed config, you're paving. I'm just concerned, and maybe it went to, we've spoken with the building department or something, but there's a lot of work going on and we don't even see the catch basins that are there. Now, maybe there aren't, and maybe this is the true thing. I don't see that.
Yeah, I believe it goes from this catch basin, there's a pipe that runs down to this catch basin.
Okay, so,
But I don't know because it's buried. There
Yeah.
are two pipes coming into this catch basin. There's
Yeah.
one coming out of this one.
Well, so I did go to the town, and in your files, there are drawings that show that these catch basins are here,
mhm,
and the town has a right of way, because those
Right.
catch basins from the road tie into this, and then go all the way down into that catch basin down here
yeah,
and out onto the main street, so that is existing.
yeah,
We're not proposing any new catch basins on this area here. So I specifically worked with Paul and also Killenly Engineers to verify that what we were doing would have no negative impact to runoff. And he ultimately concluded that what we're doing is gonna have a reduction in runoff to the street. So
Okay.
no negative impact to what we're doing.
I would just like to see the plans reflect what's out there for catch basins, or for that sewer line,
But it does,
that drain line.
it does. The only catch basins that are on the property are, this one,
Are on the.
yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't,
There are no catch basins between this catch basin and this one.
okay, but there's no delineation with the line, how those 2 feet come into the bottom, right?
Right,
Yeah,
So there's only one leaving up the top, you got 2 coming in at the bottom. There's nothing in between,
right. I mean,
so.
but I guess we can
That's
go out
all I'm
there and
asking
get
is,
the
I
site
think
up.
that the site plan should be a little more accurate. I just, is there another catch basin in between,
No.
not seeing those 2? Where, well, it could transitions from 2, right? You leave with 1 up on the north side, or the
Oh,
west side,
what it is,
Right.
what it is gutter drains from the building.
It's gutter.
The way the roof is set up,
Yep.
everything pitches towards the driveway, and then there's gutters all along the side of the building. So it goes down into basically those are your gutter drains that ties into this
Yeah.
pipe here. So one of those pipes is for the roof drain runoff, and one of them is coming from this catch basin back
Yeah, I
here.
don't think they connect. dude.
I looked at the
I don't
plan.
think these 2 connect. I think they just do right here like you see in the corner. And that's it. That's why there's
how can
nothing
that
in the
catch
middle.
basin end up top?
Yeah.
How can it end up there? It's gotta go somewhere, it's gotta come down to here, gotta connect.
Well, it's going over to Belrose Street.
I mean,
Yeah, but
it
there's
shows
no
an
going-
easement,
But I think
right?
Belmont Street's coming down from Belrose.
Yeah,
it's
it's
running
running
from
from
Bell
Belrose into that.
Yeah, down
It
from
comes down
Bell.
off of Belrose.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
goes into the space, and then there's a pipe that goes under the ground.
Yeah.
Here from that
Okay.
basin to this basin here.
Okay.
I guess, I'm assuming the other one must be the roof drain, but.
Yeah.
I didn't. I didn't see
I
that.
just, I feel it would be helpful because you've got proposed, like, I don't have my glasses, but it says proposed something.
The ramp.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all
so you're,
built- That's all gonna be built up, I mean, it's not. gonna
Okay.
be-
I'm not
You're
familiar.
not
with-
gonna be
where you
digging
put that.
down to the level of the pipe. so.
Okay,
I guess the loading docks, the way that building is set up, when you drive in this side, everything is 4 feet up. So we are just providing access, ground floor access on this side of the building So people can utilize the ramp, or there's also stairs, but for carrying stuff, there'll be a ramp to safely get up and down,
Okay,
so.
still like to see it.
Provide handicap.
Ms. Salsi and then Mr. Williams.
I just have a question. The house that you're gonna raise, are you planning to leave that green space or are you going to be putting something else in there?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna add it for green space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which will help with the runoff also.
Right, yeah, because right now there's existing pavement
Yeah,
all
that's
out
what
here.
I'm thinking.
We'll be
yeah.
removing the pavement
It will
here,
help with the runoff.
right?
Okay.
Mr. Williams.
What Mr. Popolski was saying, the way, I think the way he actually said, you'd like to see the pipe on the plans.
Yeah, I mean, the lady's got concerns about drainage on the other side. I just think it should be
So,
there.
we have the plans at the town, so on these plans here, if we could just
Highlight of
Yeah.
it.
put where the pipe, where the pipe is. So when the new plans come in, you see that pipe on the new plans.
Okay.
Mr. Poplawski.
Is there a proposal for a gate or is that gonna be 24? And maybe you said this, sorry. Is it 24 access up into the back? Or are you gonna gate that and not allow people up there on that new asphalt driveway?
No, I wasn't gonna put a gate though, no.
Okay. Okay,
Ms. Salsi.
I think you said the operation was from 7 to 7.
Yeah, we'll establish, hours of operation where customers have access to the building.
Okay, so that would be, it wouldn't be 24 hours a day, or would it?
No,
Okay, all right.
Okay, anything further?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second one.
Motion made by Mr. Santos to close public hearing, seconded by Mr. Rice. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, a yes will close public hearing, a no will keep it open. Mr. Hill?
Yes. Mike Vogel, yes.
Jane Salsi, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Santos, yes.
All right, yes.
Dave Peplowski, yes.
Randy Blackmore, yes. Mr. Lenke?
John B. Linky, yes.
Mr. Brody Brown, yes. Motion is passed.
Ties.
She's not seated.
Oh,
Oh. Okay, item. Application 23-03, applicant Bay State Investment Fund LLC, property owner of 26 Main Street, St. Joseph's Catholic Society, 18 Main Street, Thompson, Connecticut, map 169, block 94, lot 3, zone DMRD 2.4 plus or minus acres. Development of structure to 40 residential units inclusive of 1 handicap, 4 affordable housing, 60 parking spaces, 6 electric charging stations, Article 4F, Section 2-21.
Good evening. My name is Ian Sullivan, I'm attorney at St. Andre Boulevard, here on behalf of Mr. Murphy, principal behind Bay State Investment. As you're aware, I guess the best way for me to start is kind of outline who Mr. Murphy is. He is a seasoned veteran of sort of putting together these kinds of projects. One of the things he tends to do, and he does it in Mass, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, is take properties and turn them into affordable but very nice buildings that treat, the area that you're in, and they take into consideration the environment that they're in. For reference, Mr. Murphy and his business have 250 units in Northeast Connecticut. And 75 properties spread out across Mass, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. So the point is, he's done this before and he's good at what he's doing. He's had similar projects like this that had great success in Massachusetts, brick buildings not being used, taking them and giving them new life. He's professional, and as I said, he's we're not looking to necessarily put in super expensive property, but affordable, quality market rate housing. And I would add that his experience is that of keeping on top of his tenants to make sure that they're doing what they need to do to make sure that the property is well maintained, that they're maintaining themselves. It's not a detrimental situation, to any, because we don't want that. Nobody wants that, and certainly not in Thompson. The project itself is a 40-unit proposal to convert the old St. Joseph's School into a 40-unit space of single room and studio apartments. The idea essentially is that we're going to take a property that's currently not on the tax roll and add it back and give it new life, essentially. The impact is going to be fairly minimal on our school system, given that they're single room and studio apartments. And as a Thompson resident myself, I see this as a beneficial project in my eyes. I live on Wager Road, which is a little ways up, but I am a resident, and if there was someone I was gonna pick, it certainly would be someone like Mr. Murphy. So with that said, I think that's a rough overview of what is gonna be done with the building, what we're proposing, and who Mr. Murphy is, so I'll turn it over to him to give you some of the details.
All right, thank you. So we are proposing 41 bedroom apartments. I just want to clarify, no single rooms or in the studio apartments do have a separated living area. We plan to hold this building long term. We're not looking to sell or flip it, sell it as condos. So as far as the construction phase, we're going to spend money to make it correct. We'll be working with Greg O'Connor as the architect on the project. We've done multiple buildings with him. We won a historic preservation award in Worcester called the Silver Hammer Award for the Queen's Cup, which is located at 56 Water Street. We converted an old filling station into a bakery. This design doesn't call for, we could have done like 10 4-bedroom apartments, 22 bedroom apartments would have a bigger impact on the school system. 41 bedroom apartments would have little to no impact on the school system, given the size of the apartments, they're very small. Our parking ratio of 1.5 cars per apartment is very good. Especially for 1-bedroom apartments, I think we have an abundance of parking on the site. The property currently isn't on the tax roll, it's owned by the Catholic Church. So the property will now come onto the tax roll. We figured the impact when it was open at the school, there was about 100 students, support staff and teachers, about 300 trips a day for cars. Our trips will be much less than that per day. So, you know, we don't have an exact number, but we don't anticipate every resident to have a car. You know, national average is 46% of towns have cars. I think we'll be higher in this community because it's, you know, not as urban as other communities. But I imagine, you know, 35 units will have cars, there'll be 5 people who don't have cars, and I don't anticipate them making many trips per day. So in general, that's the proposal. We have worked with the Catholic Church to come up with a site plan of dividing the school from the cemetery. The church property which will remain. We don't plan many changes to the exterior of the building. We don't plan to add any exterior lighting other than on the building. Some signage where signage was for the school. In general, there shouldn't be much impact to the surrounding properties, or nothing's really changing with what's there. We plan to remove the sheds on the property. We have no plans for additional buildings at this time.
Mr. Murphy. Any other members of the public who wish to comment or questions from the commission or Ms. Salty?
Okay.
I think you had,
There's-
Joe, I think you had somebody.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Lankin.
No, go ahead.
Calling 24, watching road 24. My question is this gonna go under 8-30G affordable housing? So is that where you're gonna put it under?
We have talked to the town and during this process in the town desired a need for affordable housing. We don't have any specific we're working with the town on how we're going to restrict the 4 affordable units, whether they're unit specific or building specific, but we're just permitting this under the overlay district. We're not,
So you're not applying for affordable housing, right?
we're not, if we were applying for affordable housing credits or tax credits, we'd go 100% affordable.
All right, because you would have to, because by having handicap doesn't qualify for that, you would have to change your application to assisted housing.
We're not seeking any other approval than the town's approval under.
It's not the town's approval, you're mixing up, you're putting, now, are the residents gonna be over 55? Is that gonna be standard resident?
They could be over 55 if they applied, and these apartments won't be restricted other than the 4 units that we're agreeing to restrict with the town.
So how can you take and put affordable housing with over 55 and put it with handicap? That doesn't work.
It does, anybody could live in it.
I think if I may,
Mr. Attorney Sullivan.
the idea is not that we're going to create any particular situation where it's all affordable or all senior living housing. It's gonna be general, whoever applies and gets in can get it, but certainly someone who's 55 or older could live there, or someone who, there'll be certain number of units that are restricted for affordable housing, but it's not gonna be the primary purpose.
Okay, let me just read this. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is the way I understand it. For the affordable housing statute. 40-unit rental development at St. Joseph School with 1 handicap, 4 affordable units does not meet the definition of affordable housing development unless the development meets the definition of assisted living. That definition means housing which is receiving or will receive financial assistance under any government program for the construction or substantial rehabilitation of the low and moderate income housing and any housing occupied by persons receiving rental assistance under chapter 319 UU or section 14371 of title 42 of the United States Code. The proposal that's brought forth before this commission doesn't qualify for 830G, thus it can't claim exemption from zoning regulations for the following reason. It doesn't meet the statute's affordable housing development definition, as not all of the units would be affordable. It does not meet the set aside development of it, the definition which requires a minimum of 30% of the units to be set aside as affordable units.
I don't believe the intent here was to apply under affordable housing.
We are not seeking any federal funds for this project, and it's not being permitted through the state or the federal government for affordable housing.
Does that sort of,
Well, affordable housing, to me, it's people that they can't afford to pay high rent, so they take and they have to get some assistance somewhere. You're gonna take and make up the difference in it?
No, so it would be a project-based voucher, section 8, which we have multiple properties which aren't affordable housing properties. Somebody can come in with a voucher and we would rent them the apartment. So if we restrict a unit, whether it's a specific unit or we restrict with the town 4 units, we're agreeing that under there's a whole long list of guidelines of who you can rent to. We're not going
I
to
understand that.
rent to someone that exceeds the affordable housing restrictions.
And then you just said section 8. Section 8 goes under low income affordable housing.
Correct. So I own multiple properties that don't have any restrictions on them, and I still rent to someone with a section 8 voucher. That doesn't disallow that property from being an allowed use. The town has an overlay district, which allows a property that's vacant to be converted into something. The town is asked to help meet its goal of affordable housing in town to make 4 of the units in this project affordable, which we agreed to. We don't have a requirement to do that. We could step back and go 40 market rate units, but as a concession to the town and just an overall good thing for this project, we agreed to have 4 affordable units as part of the project.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
You do have somebody in this room, Sally.
Go ahead, Ms. Salcy, and then we'll get to Ms. White.
Okay. So my brain can clarify this. You are not going in titled as affordable housing. You're just going in as 40 units in this school, correct?
Correct.
What is the average price of these apartments going to be?
We do not have a price on the apartment, so
What are you must have a ballpark figure.
I would say on around $1,000 is a safe number. Depending if utilities end up being included, not included, that comes in the next phase of this project when we do the mechanical design.
Okay,
So if utilities are included, we're gonna be looking for a little bit more money. If no utilities are included, it will be less, but I'd say around $1,000. These are small one-bedroom units.
so you're saying $1,000 for a one-bedroom unit, that's the rental?
I'm just giving you a
Okay.
guesstimate, we're 2 years away.
Definitely not affordable.
I don't know if you see in the apartment market, that's affordable, but
Well, yeah,
So the
in
government-
certain areas.
the low, the rate for HUD in this area is $895, so that would be
Okay.
considered a low income unit.
Oh,
So-
that's $895 is
Correct.
considered a low income unit?
Correct. Depending on the utility allowance. So
Okay, what's the average square footage of these apartments?
we don't have a final layout until the mechanicals are done, but they're right in that 500 square foot.
500 square foot.
Was it Ms. White, is that what you said?
Mhm.
Ms. White?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
You can take commission members' questions first. If anybody.
Mr. Lanky?
Which one?
You. Go ahead, John.
All right, the only thing my question would be is that we haven't seen a report, I haven't seen a report in here unless our CEO has just got it recently. Is anything from the fire marshal and stuff like that? Like a layout for the, I guess from what I was looking at, there is one on the first floor, I believe. You have it set up for one handicap, I believe, on the first floor around unit 111, 111 and stuff. So are there gonna be any type of lights or anything in the hallway so people can go from left to right to know which would be the best access?
So the building will have to be brought up to the current building code. It will all be done by architects and engineers in each profession. So there'll be a fire alarm engineer, a sprinkler engineer, an architect, an engineer to handle HVAC, someone who'll handle electrical. So the engineers will handle all of that, and everything will be brought up to the current code. And that'll be part of our building permit.
Thank you, Mr. Lanky. Any other questions for the applicant from the commission at this moment, Mr. Poplawski?
In your response back to Cindy, you referenced that you anticipated most of the traffic is gonna go onto Main Street,
I do.
access through Main Street. So is there an easement or what's the access way through the church property? Because it looks like the way it's cut up, it goes, the existing parking lot stays with the church, right?
So on your plans, you'll see this dashed line. This is a easement that runs to the school from Main Street.
Does that wrap around the current parking spots?
Yes.
In the church
So up
parking
against
lot?
Kind of the wall, when the embankment comes down.
We're inheriting the wall. The wall's right here.
Yeah.
There's a row of parking, and then we have the right of way on kind of right after that park.
Oh, okay, because I saw where you were coming down. I thought you were coming down alongside the church
This
there.
is,
Yeah.
this is a utility easement.
Okay,
So this is the drive easement, this is the utility easement. Just because sewer and water and other utilities.
yeah.
Dave, that's what I had thought originally, and I wrote those questions, and then he came in and we talked about it, and then he wrote the answers, and so I didn't think I had to go any further to see.
Yeah, no, when I saw Main Street, it makes the most sense, but
Yeah.
I thought it was through that, where it was the easement, I didn't even realize with the gray. That was shaded on, so.
Yeah.
Ms.
Thank
Halsey
you.
and then Mr. Santos.
Okay, concerning the parking and everything else, and there is an access from the rear of that school to, what's the name of that? road?
Reardon Road.
Reardon Road, okay. Where does that fit into your,
It's right here.
Okay.
The church currently have it roped off or chained off. We plan to open that.
Okay.
Access, and I guess it depends where people are going on a daily basis. Every time I go to the property, probably because this is chained off, I always come in through the church parking
Through the
lot.
church parking
I
lot.
don't know what the traffic flow will be once, people actually were to live in the building.
Okay, and I know that for the longest time, that access to Reardon Road was a one-way. You had to go through the church parking lot, through the school parking lot to get out onto Reardon Road. In other words, you couldn't come in from Reardon Road. Would that be staying the same, or would you be changing
We have
that?
it at two ways, and I think there's some signage on here too to designate stopping. That
Okay.
might have just been like a traffic flow pattern for the school. I'm not
Okay.
sure why that was done.
Okay.
But the engineer said it's wide enough and there should, Reardon Road.
For
isn't
both
a-
ways.
Yeah, and Reardon Road isn't a heavily traveled road, so they didn't see an issue with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Santos?
Just exterior envelope, so it looks like existing EPDM roof. Are you putting a new roof on?
No, the roof is in good shape.
Is it?
We. A second, we may go to solar at some point in this
Yep.
project. We would consider a new roof at that point.
Okay.
Just because we wouldn't want to put the infrastructure on the roof, on an older roof.
Sure, sure.
Right now, there is no plans for solar.
Okay.
We would love to do solar if it was available. We've spoken to the state. There's not. Really any great incentives for this property, but depending on the utilities available, I imagine the majority of this building is going to be electric. There's no gas in the street, so we might look to do a solar component.
Are you getting like all brand new HVAC?
Yeah, so
Out there.
we imagine it'll be some sort of mini split system, whether it's a whole building mini split system where we're paying for it or it's individual units. That seems to be the most economical.
But new windows?
New windows.
Yep. And are you cleaning the masonry, repointing? I don't know how, if it's good
It's
or
in
bad
pretty good
shape.
shape. There's one section on the side to call it the cemetery side over there
Yeah.
that needs a little work, but other than that, we have no.
We're just looking for, the visual aesthetics, you can bring it up and make it look nice.
We have some black windows.
Yeah, that's what I was.
So just kind of the design we're going for.
Are you gonna resurface this entire parking lot? Cause I know you're redoing all the striping for the new layout, but you resurface all that?
It's gonna depend how much it gets dug up for utilities. It's kind of at the end of its life right now.
Yeah.
I would say there's a good chance it gets resurfaced.
Okay, just wanna make sure
Yeah.
it looks nice with. the community.
So we're adding a little parking. In this corner right here, this is currently grass, so we're adding
Yeah.
pavement there, and then there's a
Yes,
little
yeah.
chunk of pavement that we're making grass right there.
Yeah, I see that.
Just to kind of line it up a little bit better.
Okay. All right, very good, thank you.
Mr. Williams?
Now, the dreaded question, like what's going on in Putnam, when you get into them walls, has that been checked out for lead and all of that?
So, yes, we haven't done a lead test on the building. There's been an asbestos test on the building. There is asbestos in the building. So when we go to, the design phase of the building, some will be encapsulated with, flooring. Others will be removed, so that will all be part of the process. So that's up to, whatever the codes are, that's what we'll have to abide by.
Great. Anything else? Mr. Williams?
No.
Ms. Salsi and then Mr. Santos?
On the first floor, I'm assuming that's where the handicapped one is gonna be because there's no elevators in there. There's also an office on that first floor. Will there be, it's just gonna be apartments, they're not no one's gonna be there around the clock or anything like
Correct.
that? Okay,
So we have an office in Killingly now.
Okay.
And we have, I think, about 8 employees full-time in Connecticut, so they're available, stuff happens. after
okay, that was
hours.
that was my question.
There's a whole bunch of us that get called when something happens and stuff happens, and
Okay,
whoever's the closest normally goes to the property and deals with it, and then if maintenance guys have to come in, we call them in.
Mr. Santos?
You came in last time, we asked a lot of interior questions. It's pretty much a gut interior, right?
It's not, so the plan, when I first looked at the property where I thought the apartments would be larger and the architect thought we should confine them within the school walls just because of the type of construction. So it's kind of like a concrete and well, not concrete, but it's a really hard wall system in a metal mesh, which is a pain to demo. So our plan is to construct all the units within the existing walls. Of course, there will be demo. But in general, the existing layout of the school, we're gonna build the apartments within the classrooms.
Within the class, oh, I'm sorry. Within each classroom, how many apartments are you gonna make? Two, okay,
Mr. Poplawski.
There's some closets.
yes,
currently,
yeah,
So we'll probably demo the closet out. The
Yeah.
hallways are really wide, so
Yes.
the door that comes into the classroom will probably get moved out, so that gains about 4 feet.
Okay.
So the apartments, I think, are like 28 or 32 feet long. So they're pretty long.
Is there a way, now knowing where the egress is gonna be onto Main Street, is there a way? Would you be acceptable to defining that entrance? So that it's not a free-for-all? I know when church is there and everybody's pulling out, it's a free-for-all. So is there a way that you could come to an agreement with the church so that that area is defined as egress and ingress for that property? And I don't know what that even, I don't know if it's curbing, I don't know if it's painting, if it's.
So, I mean, the church will be able to access over this property, and we've also told the church that they were having a service at the cemetery, they were free. I think 60 spots is way more than we're needing here, so we've told the
Yeah.
church if they have use of our spots, feel free to use them. So I don't know that, this striped area here, well, I don't know if you can see it from there, but this striped area
Yeah.
would, the church would be able to drive over it to park in the parking spaces. So I think it might get a little confusing to, and it's not an exclusive, drive. It's just the right to pass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like in between the church's parking lot,
Yeah.
parking
Yeah.
spots.
Okay,
We just try to think of everything, so there's no,
yeah.
infighting over there and everyone gets along.
when are you planning to get started on this after all of this is okay?
The biggest question is gonna be how we're heating the building and electricity and meeting with the utility company. A lot of work can be done running all the utilities back out towards the street or where they're gonna come into the building. We'd like to start right away. We don't need funding. And it takes, a year and a half, 2 years, depending on supply chain and, just general, we're gonna find other issues within the building.
Okay, so you said that most of it's gonna be electric because there's no gas lines or anything in there or fuel oil. Individual apartment meters, or is it going to be, how's that?
I
gonna
mean,
work?
ideally for us as a landlord, we hope it's individual meters.
Okay, but that's it, yeah,
But it's gonna come into,
yeah,
it's gonna, in surprise, we have a building currently that runs off of all mini splits and it's 48 units. And it's surprisingly efficient.
okay,
You would be surprised how, economical it is to heat and cool that many units, but that's all kind of in the next phase of this project where the mechanical plans get done, and that takes about 45 days.
Okay.
And it's kind of slow construction wise right now, so maybe a little quicker. So maybe a good time.
Mr. Santos.
Last one for me. We can still have Fun Fest or whatever that is.
We are happy to.
The beer tent is right over here.
Like, telling you it's there.
Thank you,
They're over 20.
thank you, Mr. Santos.
Thank you, Joe. Randy Moore, 130 Pompeo Road here in North Grovenordale. I want to express my support to the commission for this project. However, I do have the common sense side of me says that 40 units is an awful lot of units in that footprint, albeit I know it's 2 floors. I went to St. Joseph Grammar School. I was in that first class that went in there in 1960 as a 5th grader. 60, 61, 62, 63, I'm old. Common sense side of me says that I think the commission should look at something in the 25 to 30 unit approval process. I understand as an owner, you want to maximize your profit. I don't blame you at all for that. But I think as citizens, I think there are a lot of people in this community that are concerned about 40 units in that location with that very limited parking
with a church next to it that on holidays, weddings, funerals, there are people parked all over what is going to be your parking lot. So I think consideration should be given to a lower number than what is being proposed here. As the tax collector for the town of Thompson, I can tell you that people like to talk to the tax collector and the people in the tax office when they come in to pay their taxes, or if I'm at LB's having a bowl of soup at lunchtime, and people are always asking questions or making comments. I can tell you that overwhelmingly, the comments that I've heard since this proposal have come out are, they're in favor, and they're very concerned about 40 units. And they're very concerned about the 4 subsidized housing units. I understand that you indicated that the town has given its approval. I don't know if a few individuals in the town, or the taxpayers, 9,500 people who live in Thompson, are the people who represent the town. Overwhelmingly, I think affordable housing is not what people want to see there. Just a couple of thoughts that I have, and I base that decision on my personal feelings, but also what I'm hearing an awful lot about around town, and I get around town.
Thank you, Mr. Moran. Ms. White?
Yes, thank you. Sally White, 308 East Thompson Road. Mr. Moran has captured many of the observations and concerns that I have heard from all of the villages in town, and certainly this end of town in East Thompson, and articulated that very well. One of my questions was going to be, if you are presently thinking of roughly 500 square feet per unit, and you said that they were studio. Now, how do you define studio? I have known that as being one open room, but I think you mentioned that there would be a separate room, and I'm wondering how you're going to break down the space in there. And I take it that's a galley kitchen?
So there's pretty much in general 2 unit types. One unit type has a bedroom with windows. The other unit type has an interior room, which
Why would it do that?
it's the TV.
And I have other comments. I have other comments to make, so don't, but I want to hear this, please.
You're going, what happened? We lost it.
The Zoom is still open.
You guys can still hear in the Zoom room, yes? Somebody just reply. Sally, can you still hear us?
Yes.
But the sound is coming through there, so we can't hear her.
All right, we just have to wait. New equipment.
Technology.
There we go.
Sorry, Sally, we lost you.
Thank you. All right, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Can.
Very good. So I have other comments, but I was curious about the breakdown on the space, and I didn't hear the second comment. You said there were 2 units, and the second unit is what?
So there's more than 2 unit types, but in general, I'd say 90% of the building's made up of 2 unit types. One has an interior room, which can't be considered a bedroom because it doesn't have windows. So that unit's more of a studio unit. There's light and ventilation code that likely will have to make that wall like a 3/4 wall versus a full wall. But it will have like a sleeping area behind the kitchen. So, or someone could use that as the family room and have their bed in the kitchen, whatever somebody wanted to do.
And it'll be a galley kitchen?
It's more of kind of like an L-shaped kitchen. Just so we could get a full appliance package, because we're planning on putting dishwashers in it.
Okay, and then I think I heard you mention that the wall, the big wall behind that abuts Reardon Road goes with your property? Is that true? Is that true? Are you taking over the
Yes.
maintenance of the wall?
Correct.
And is there not a shrine atop that or incorporated into that?
I am not sure, but anything that,
The Greta was this.
Yeah.
Demolished years ago.
Taken years ago.
We don't
So
plan,
it no longer exists?
Nope.
No,
Okay, and then a couple other things. You mentioned, the question was posed about maintenance on site and that you have an office in Killingly and 8 people in Connecticut total. So, but are those maintenance people and is there one in Killingly, or are you going to contract out if somebody has a plumbing problem, a heat and air conditioning problem, a door problem? Are people on call?
yes, so we have a full team on call. We have over 1,000 units under management, so we have to be responsive 24/7, 365. Thanksgiving,
But I'm
Christmas.
not talking about your units in Massachusetts and so forth. I'm talking about just this one.
Ms. White, I'm sorry, do you have any other, your time is expiring, so I do want to make sure you get any further questions.
I'm curious about the 6 EV parking charging stations. That's perplexing in terms of the types of units that you're planning. But I think my main comment is that 40 units strikes me as essentially nothing more than box stalls in a very efficient barn. And I would hope to goodness that the planning and zoning people would consider limiting the number of units so that they are more suitable for civilized residences. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White.
I can touch on the electric vehicle charging stations, not something we want to do, but that is a new state regulation as of 2023, which requires us to do it.
yeah, yeah. Why they're at the stores and everything else now. because they have to
And
be put in.
Galaxy A20. Whoever's on your Galaxy phone with your hand up.
You need to unmute yourself as well and identify your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, man, I'm gonna move on to Ms.
Whoever they are, they just came off mute. Galaxy A20, you just came off mute. Can you say your name and address for the record? Otherwise, the chair will have to move on.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Yes, my name is Tanya Knowles. I live at 34 Main Street. My concerns here are that the traffic here is absolutely ridiculous as is. Speed limit here is 15 miles an hour. It's crazy here. People drive here 50 miles an hour up the road, and that is what it is for the people that live here now. But to add that many more units on a small street like this is extremely concerning to me. I hear the issue. I've never had any issue with the church parking. That's an occasion. It's a Sunday or Saturday night. It's an occasion. I really feel uncomfortable about having that many more units. I'm not sure if you know exactly which house is mine, but I live on the corner of Main Street in Reardon. We actually have to put a cone outside to mow our lawn. So those are my concerns.
Thank you very much. Ms. Green?
Hi, Kelly Green, 216 Hagstrom Road. I just had a question. If you have any plans to limit the number of occupants per unit, because 40 units sounds like quite a bit. And you mentioned, I think, that you had 60 parking spots. And since this is a bedroom community, I could see like a couple easily having 2 cars per unit, which would be like 80 cars.
Thank you, Ms. Green.
Yeah, we don't have any plans. We can't really limit, that would violate federal law as far as equal housing, but in general, we anticipate these will be occupied by one person. They're smaller units. A couple absolutely could occupy the units, but when permitting a 3-bedroom apartment, a parking ratio of 1.5 spots per unit would be acceptable. We're having 1.5 spots per unit with 1-bedroom units, so I think we have an abundance of parking. I don't see any scenario where all 60 parking spots were taken up.
So,
For Stetson too.
okay, thank you.
Out of curiosity, and just for clarification in my own head, the 4 affordable housing apartments, what made you decide to go with that?
The town has a goal to meet affordable housing, in the state of Connecticut has.
They're pushing it.
They're pushing it on all the towns, so it was a kind of compromise on our part. Nothing that we were required to do. The town is trying to meet an affordable housing restriction. We think it's good. We think affordable housing is important, so a mix of affordable and market rate housing, even when it's split like 50-50, works very well. You know, it doesn't turn into per se like a low income building, so we really like a mix of affordable and market rate housing. We have it in other buildings, and I think that, you know, 4 units is, I think you guys, I think the public would be surprised how many people are on affordable housing.
Oh, no, I'm very much aware of them. As far as the 40 units, I mean, I have to agree with pretty much what I've been hearing tonight, not only in my own thoughts before I know that building inside and out. 40 is an awful lot for that building. Had you considered making it lower? Have you thought about 30 units rather than the 40 units?
Sure, I think if we go lower, then you have more bedrooms and you have an impact on the school system. That's something that, you know, we're not opposed to, but the, you know, we make a less units, we have more square footage, we have bedrooms.
Well, I mean, that, I wouldn't do it that way. I would make the living space a little bit bigger
We
so
wouldn't
that
be able
people
to-
aren't crammed
Yeah,
in
so-
500 square feet and still just keep it 1 bedroom, and, you know,
We have to pay for the building, you know, so we have to generate enough income.
an income. Yeah, I get
People only
that.
pay so much for a 1-bedroom apartment. So if
Yeah,
we make a 1
$1,000
bedroom,
$1,000 a month. Yeah,
so if we make a 1 bedroom twice as big, we're not gonna get twice as much rent.
yeah, okay, all right.
Mr. Brissette and then Ms.
John, did you hear that? You're up.
Okay, Mr. Brissette, I'll come back to you if you like. Mr. Hancock?
David Hancock, 130. I rent apartments and I have several buildings, I rent them, and the 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom doesn't affect the school systems. I have 1 bedrooms rented that have 1 or 2 kids in the school system. Just to kind of clarify that with everybody. So it doesn't necessarily, and like you said, you can't say no, you have too many people. So it's kind of a gray fuzzy area.
Thank you,
The
Mr.
only thing with the size of these apartments is the Board of Health steps in. There's a certain square footage per occupant, so
Yes.
I imagine the max on these apartments would be 3. So I just don't envision 3 people wanting to, you know, these are gonna be tight spaces for 3 people.
Mr. Brissette, are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Sean Brissett, Lowell Davis Road. My only concern is that back entrance to Reardon. I think that that's always been, in my opinion, a fairly dangerous exit. So I would, as much as I don't like tearing anything down, I might be in favor of possibly doing something with that wall back there to create a better sight line. That would be my main concern with the amount of traffic going in and out. As one person commented, people like to drive a little fast on the back roads, and I'm not immune to that. So that's really my biggest concern when they talked about opening that back up as a point of entrance and exit. That would be a concern. So that's about it. Thank you.
Mr. Lincoln.
Paul Linky, my question is that I understand the project that you're going through. And there's no information that's brought to this board that anybody's heard. They're changing the characteristics and the performance of that building, okay? So basically you have open spaces here. You're gonna be taking sides and everything down with walls and everything. Nothing shows the design dead load of the prior building versus what the new building's gonna be, the live load of the prior building to the new building, and also the snow load. That's all gonna be impacted on the structural design of that building. And everything else that you put in it, that's all gonna be increased.
Correct.
So, and to me, that's public safety, you know?
So there's gonna be an engineer and architect who stamp these plans and they're certifying that they have, made sure the building's safe,
So
so.
when you evaluate your building, how do you do that? If you can't see what's up inside the walls or what's up inside for.
We've done an existing condition study on the building.
So wouldn't you want to bring that forth with your application so people would understand that this place is going to be safe for occupancy?
We don't have a final approval because we don't know the mechanicals in the building yet. So without a approval on a unit count, we can't do a mechanical.
And not only that, what impact is it gonna have as far as utilities in the town, where there's water going into the place and there's also going into the sewer? Because if it's an increase of flow going into the sewer, we just put a new pump station down by the bridge 7 years ago, and if that has to be increased, the town would have to take and put a new one in. All of these designs have to be met, and we have to see that.
We need to make sure everything, fits with public utilities, and that's part of the mechanical design phase.
So at any point in time, whether it's the building inspector, the fire inspector, or this board right here, they'll be able to see that design so that they'll be okay with it.
Yeah, so the building is gonna fall under state building code and, local town ordinances, which will, require us to abide by a set of regulations. And, architects and engineers are just gonna stamp plans and they're not going to, stamp them unless they feel that everything is sufficient.
Okay, and my last thing to you is, who is gonna certify that any asbestos that is left inside of the building is gonna be okay for occupancy being done the way that it is? Because according to hazardous weight, because of hazardous materials, 1 pound of asbestos is a reportable quantity.
So there's definitely asbestos in the building. There's been a report in the school all along, children were going there, had the report updated annually or biannually through a company out of Norwich, I believe, and we will hire a asbestos company that will come in. They will look at our plan. They'll tell us what we need to encapsulate, how we need to encapsulate it, what we need to remove. And that will all be done under their license, and I'm not gonna be removing the asbestos myself, and we'll hire a company that does that, and that's there's a report out there, a lengthy report on the asbestos in the building, so I think there's a good baseline of what's there now, so there's nothing that we potentially could try and take out that wasn't controlled by, asbestos removal company.
But let's say it was in a wall and you say you're gonna encapsulate it, whatever, and some discrepancy comes out with something that's destroyed or whatever it is, and it's being exposed to the people living there.
So, it just falls under the building codes, what we can and can't do, and I can assure you, our architect is by the book when it comes to the building codes, and probably conservative in nature, and we'll abide by the state, national, and local building codes.
And also.
Well, it's good that your time has expired. The last question.
Thank you very much.
You've got Sally online.
Thank you. Ma'am.
You had mentioned potentially going for solar and a new roof at some point. Is there a height restriction? Can you go up, and are you planning to go up at any point?
Definitely not going up building wise for units. Solar, we would have to check with the town. Another option is solar, car, they would cover cars with solar. So we would love to introduce solar to this project, but that's really far down the road for us.
Nothing going on.
Solar would be nice on the roof, but we have
I
no,
guess from the building perspective, they're not planning to go.
absolutely
higher
not.
than the
We would not go higher than the current 2 years. It would trigger elevators and a bunch of other things.
We got Ms. White online.
Yes, Sally White, 308 East Thompson Road. In general, I obviously have a lot of respect for businessmen, but we're hearing vague and general questions. And perhaps bottom line is that this isn't a suitable project. If the only way to make money is to squeeze 40 units in, it may not be the best thing to do. I'm also curious about the access for emergency responders and fire and EMS in terms of the space in there and the access to the units that will be in the middle of the building.
I believe the school has great access currently, and probably by design because it was a school for emergency services. Actually has a loop right around the back of the building for a fire line.
Just one quick comment, and I know I'm short on time, is that, but that was, you're putting 2 units into each schoolroom. So that's a lot of doors, and that's a lot of different units to get to. It's a little bit different than leaving the room size the way it is now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White. Mr. Santos.
This might be a dumb question or a comment, but I'm going to say, because I'm trying to wrap my head around the request for 40 or less units. So your ideal condition is, this is hypothetically say it's one person who uses 40 units. That's 40 people. Well, if we reduce it to 30 and increase the size of the other 10, you could have 30 people. And if you increase the size, you might get 2 people. You would have 10, so that's 20. You could be up to 50. I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Correct. I mean, the more bedrooms, the more people. The reason we worded it that way is we don't have a final mechanical set. And we could see an instance where we move the unit on the second floor. For reasons. Yeah, so we may reduce the scale of the project from the 40 foot to 39 to accommodate mechanicals.
I guess my point is, I'm not convinced that reducing the amount of units is reducing the amount of people that are going to be inhabiting.
It'll actually add to the people.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Okay.
It's a pretty large building. It's 30,000 square feet, so it doesn't maybe seem that big, but divide 30,000 by 40, and it's a pretty big number. And
yeah,
there's hallways and staircases and a mechanical room. So
yeah,
there's a lot of space in this building.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, is it Ms. Knowles on the Galaxy?
Yes.
Sorry. Go ahead.
My other concern is we also don't have a local police department. There've been a lot of issues on the street already, and I'm not saying this is going to create more. However, given all the residents here, it's a bit of a concern to me. We've had several incidents here already. It's just a real concern to me. Like I said, I'm not saying that these people are going to be problems, but we're already. We have to call the Troop D at this point, and it's pretty frustrating because there's a lot that goes on in this neighborhood sometimes, and that seems to be our only option. I just don't want any more issues, even for people in case, again, in an emergency, that type of situation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm on 53 First Street. I just was wondering, with the 40 that you're originally planning, or 41, is there a maximum number of people? Because not everyone is single. There could be a spouse situation with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can't control the number of people in a unit. So it's against federal law. The HUD, we just have to let everyone apply to the unit. There's a state building code that would come in, Board of Health, as far as how many people can live in a unit. I imagine the size of the unit, I don't know, but I imagine it'll be 3 people would be the max. I don't envision 3 people getting to live in these units.
But if there was like 2 each unit, that would be 80 people.
Yeah, I don't see a situation where that happens. I mean, could that happen potentially, but that's not we have this building type in other markets. We have and we don't have any situation where it's all 2 bedrooms. It's pretty much all or all single occupants.
Thank you.
like to make a motion to close it.
I'll second that
hearing?
motion.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Hill to close public hearing, seconded by Ms. Salsi. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, a yes vote keeps or closes the public hearing, a no vote keeps it open. Mr. Blackmer.
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Dave Plowski, yes.
John Wright, yeah.
Brian Santos, yes.
Ray Williams, yeah.
Jane Salsi, yes.
Mike Kruger, yes.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Mr. Lanky,
John B. Lanky, yes.
Joseph Brody Brown, yes. Public hearing is closed. Okay, item 4, discuss public hearing and possible action. Application 23-01, applicant Green Valley Self-Storage LLC.
Like a motion, make a motion to accept 23-01
Except to approve.
to approve.
Motion made by Mr. Hill to approve application 23-01.
I'll second, but I have,
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Mr. Santos.
so we just add in that, 2301 applicant work with 56th Street to remove questionable or dead trees
Yeah,
and add on to update and indicate the appropriate catch basins and associated lines on the final plan,
What was that address, Brian? I'm sorry.
56th Main Street.
Six Main Street.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, I did not hear who had the second on that motion.
Mr. Santos.
Oh, Brian did, okay.
What was the second condition, Brian?
Updating the catch basin, the connection between the catch basins on the map.
Yep.
On the site plan
Updating the
rather,
Connection between.
on the map, right?
on the
Yep,
site
on the
plan.
plan, yep.
On the site plan, connection between the catch basins on the site plan. Okay, got it.
That's it.
Is there any further discussion? We'll take each of those conditions, I guess, by a voice vote. Is it all those in favor of adding the condition to work with 56 with, with those interested in 56 Main Street to clean up, take care of any hazardous trees in the area. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. And then to update the connection between the catch basins on the site plan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Any further discussion on the motion?
Because they're consolidating those two lots, we don't have to do anything with the consolidation of those two lots, right?
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Hill, are you willing to amend your motion to approve with conditions?
Yes.
Mr. Santos, do you second as amended? Any further discussion? Hearing none, a yes vote is to approve application 23-01 with the two conditions previously voted on. A no is to deny the application. Mr. Hill.
Mr. Hill, yes.
Mike Kruger, yes.
Jane Salsi, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Brian Santos, yes.
John Rice, yes.
Dave Plowski, yes.
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Mr. Lanky
John B. Lanky, yes.
and Joseph Brody Brown, yes. The application is approved. Thank you. Application 23-03, applicant Bay State Investment Fund LLC, 26 Main Street.
I'll motion to approve P and Z application 23-03.
Motion made by Mr. Santos, seconded by Mr. Blackmer to approve application 23-03. Any discussion on the motion?
Just a couple of comments.
Mr. Santos.
I'm just excited for this abandoned building to be renovated. I also think that the structure itself being abandoned is the potential of causing more mischief in the area, so I'm excited for it to be revitalized. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Rice and then Mr. Blackmer.
Just want to address the sight line that Mr. Sean.
Mr. Brissette.
Had about that, I think maybe a condition that they would meet that requirement. I know that usually if you went for a driveway permit, you would have to have 100-foot sight line. I would want to make sure that that's accomplished at that back site. And I'm not sure, I guess, even the front location, where they're coming in onto Main Street, that curve, I guess you can look up the hill and see that, that should be all right, but definitely address the, that Reardon Road sight line. And also, I would like to see that, TP, the, water pollution control approval, that it would,
Are gonna interfere with it.
well, that they have the capacity of handling that.
We have the capacity.
40
We have the capacity to handle that.
without upgrading that. pump.
We're running at 1/3 occupancy.
Yeah, I know, at the station itself or the plant itself,
Yeah.
but how about what was brought up about the pump?
I can
new
I
pump.
can find out, but that should be fine also.
Yeah, what should be and is a different thing.
Well, it's Thompson made, it's gotta be.
I'm sorry.
You want a condition that the result of the.
Well, approval,
The station.
just approval of the Thompson water pollution.
Yes,
control.
the pump, all right, so how do you want me to word that, please?
Well, it's a condition of the approval of the Thompson Water Pollution Control Authority.
Anything else, Mr. Rice?
That the station has the.
No,
capacity.
just approval, straight
Just the-
approval.
Just that the,
That they could handle what's anticipated coming from that building.
So that would include everything, the pump, the station, everything. We just want to get it,
Yep.
yeah,
Just.
Yeah.
How they do it, just as long as they can handle the amount of.
Anything else, Mr. Rice?
Just that right of way that's going from Main Street
Mhm.
to that location, I think I'd like to have that better defined and approved. I'd like to see something from the church, because I don't know if we received anything, or you have that signed right away from the church. You know, they're cutting through the.
Yeah.
parking lot.
Looking. So that would be good. He's got it.
that would be, yeah. Oh,
He's got it right there.
Yeah.
I think you had it last time. too.
yeah.
oh, okay, oh, you want the right of way in the record.
So the plan that's presented would be recorded. The property hasn't been subdivided from the church.
So it would be in your deed.
Correct, it would be on
Yeah.
the plan recorded.
Yeah.
Yes, and there, we have presented a letter from the church that they are in agreement with this plan, obviously.
Yeah.
You saw that letter.
Sounds like it's
That's in the back.
All right, so what do you want to do with that now? You're satisfied with the D and
Cross
B
it
or?
off.
Yeah, cross it off.
Anything else, Mr. Rice?
No.
Mr. Blackburn?
The only thing, if I understood correctly, that by not changing the size of the apartments, they'd be leaving the structural walls there, which is supporting, I mean, I assume is supporting everything, and I'm sure that I would have faith that the engineers would do that. Would probably prefer to see the walls stay in the have the support that's there for that they had for the school, rather than telling them that they've got to make it into 30 apartments and knock down some walls and whatnot.
Thank you, Mr. Black.
Would that come under the jurisdiction of the building?
Actually,
Yeah.
it's the building official, I would think.
Yeah. Mr. Williams and then Mr.
Well, the
Kroger.
way he's explaining it, they're gonna be putting walls in between, so that's gonna even give more support for the city,
Yeah.
for the group,
Mhm.
correct? I would have to say so, it's gonna be twice as strong.
And first floor is.
Yeah,
Mr. Kroger?
This may not be the time to discuss, to ask this question, but does anyone know the size of the units at Carriage Square or down at Maple Courts? What size units those are? And yet nobody seems to be having a problem with those.
Yeah, Thank you, Mr.
Just wondering, okay.
Thank
good
you, Mr.
question.
Kroger. Anything else? Any further discussion? Okay, then for the first condition proposed by Mr. Rice is to ensure the 100-foot sightline
Off of Reardon
off
Road
of, on that rear end road,
and the approval
utility road.
Thompson
Yep,
water
we're doing
pollution.
one by one. One by one. So all those in favor of adding the 100-foot sightline condition, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. And the second condition is approval contingent upon the approval of the Thompson WPCA. All those in favor of adding that condition, say aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Mr. Santos, will you amend your motion? Mr. Blackmer, do you second the motion as amended? Yes, I do. Okay. The motion before the commission is to accept application, or I'm sorry, approve application 23-03 with conditions. Hearing no further discussion, a yes will approve with conditions, a no will deny. Mr. Hill.
Elvin Hill, yes. Mike Vogel, yes.
Jane Salcy, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Brian Santos, yes.
Dave Paplosky, yes.
Brent Blackmer, yes. Mr. Lanky.
John B. Linky, yes.
Joseph Brody Brown, yes. The application is approved with conditions. Thank you, Mr. Murphy, Attorney Sullivan. Thank you, Mr. Labonte. Item 5, citizens' comments. We did. No, the vote was to approve as amended. Would you like to change your vote? Would you like to change your vote?
Sally's got it.
Yeah, point of order, Mr. Hill would like to change his vote on the motion to approve with conditions for 23-03 to a no vote. That would be approved 9-1. Thank you. Ms. White.
Sally White, 308 East Thompson Road. A comment on the proposed storage facility at the former bakery. The gentleman that spoke up, he was interested in buying the house there. And it's curious to me, I know there's interest in renewal of Main Street and having the safety and the socializing or the whatever of having residences there. So there's an older house that could be renovated and would provide affordable housing to some degree, would provide more housing. There is a lack of housing, and yet it's a pity to have an older home that could be renovated. There's a gentleman there that offered to do that. Again, my sense is that we've had two entities there before you tonight who do not live in town, are not familiar with the area, don't know the nature of the town. And again, the town is going to be altered and not necessarily in our best interests overall or in the long run. And I think it's a pity to lose that building. Many places can be renovated, and quite often folks that aren't familiar with that process don't realize how that they can be salvaged and made into something beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White. Do you have anyone else here?
If anybody else in the Zoom room would like to make a comment under citizens' comments, please raise your hand if you can. If you can't, just take yourself off mute and identify yourself by name and address.
If anyone in the room, just stand and be recognized. Mr. Lanky.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing, and I think Mr. Hilton, he's been involved with stuff like that. When you take a building and you change the characteristics and the performance of the building by adding a lot of things, structural load on that building changes quite a bit. And if something isn't done right, you're gonna get a problem, and one problem leads to another. And I think that's why these people need to show that what they're gonna be doing, that the performance of that building is gonna be structurally safe.
Thank you, Mr. Lanky. Ms. Romanek.
Passay Road. I just, after listening to Sally talk, I would just like to say I agree
about the gentleman who, you know, offered to maybe discuss purchasing that house, and I don't know if you could somehow get in touch with them afterwards, but it does seem like, you know, you have someone locally who's trying to run a business and fix houses, so for his income, you know, maybe it does make sense that you should pursue that. And I know you guys already approved it, but maybe he would be willing to talk to this gentleman, reconsider about that law, rather than ripping it down. I mean, we're talking about putting in 40 people to live. We've got one that could be fixed. So I would encourage you to do that. Maybe somehow meet with that guy if you could. So he could help you get in touch with him.
Thank you, Mr. Manick.
Anybody else in the Zoom room would like to make a citizen's comment at this time? Again, you can raise your hand, or if you can't use the raise hand function, take yourself off mute and identify yourself by name and address, please.
Okay, seeing no other citizens' comments at this time. Item 6, applications, application 23-02. Do I need to read that all if they're requesting withdrawal?
That's good.
Application 23-02, the applicant has requested that the application be withdrawn.
We need a motion.
What I said, you want me to read out what I said? Applicant has not submitted the paperwork to comply with Article 3A, Section A and B. His engineer said he would not be ready for 2 months, according to state statute, Section 8-7B. B, an additional 2 months does not comply with the statute to continue the approval process for a permit with commission site plan review. And I added that because I actually had to check the regulations, because I didn't know that state statute only applied to special permits, but I had to double check and make sure it applies to this too. Mr. Leroy reapply, when Mr. Leroy reapplies, he is requesting a waiver of the application fee of $150. And you need to vote on that.
Do we act on that now, or
Pardon?
do we act on that now, or when he?
Yeah,
reapplies?
well, you need to wait, act on the waiver, so when he comes back in.
Mr.
I'd like to make a motion that we waive it at 150.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made by Mr. Williams, seconded by Ms. Salsi to waive the application fee for application 23-02 when it is,
Or just.
or to this for Mr.
The
Guillaume.
next time they come.
Yeah,
The-
when he comes in,
When
he's
the,
ready.
when the,
Yeah,
Be in the
With
motion.
that, yeah.
yeah.
for the next time when he comes
So
in.
for this property at 365 Riverside Drive, Moon Spinners LLC.
And I'd second that motion.
Made and seconded already, Mr. Hill.
Oh, okay.
Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none, a yes vote will waive of fee, an application fee for this applicant for this property in the future. A no vote will not waive the application fee. Mr. Blackmore.
Randy Blackmore, yes.
Dave Popelski, yes.
John Rice, no.
Brian Satos, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Jane Salty, yes.
Mike Bell's no.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Mr. Lanky,
John B. Linky, no.
just Brody Brown, no. 6 votes in favor, 4 votes opposed. The application will be waived. Item 20, application 23-05, applicant Strategic Commercial Realty Incorporated, DBA Ross and Materials, applicant. Property owners Lynn Ross and Landry and Cheryl Jane Fauché, 0 Aquatic Town Farm Road, map 145, block 14, lot 14, zone R40 gravel operation renewal permit, zoning regulations 2012. I believe that's Article 9. Cindy?
No, this is.
No,
The old.
I know, I understand that,
Yeah.
but it's, is it Article 9, is it Article IX, or is it Article?
This was the typo neither one of us could find.
Yeah,
Remember, I emailed said there's a typo?
It's like, if you just hold on. one.
Yeah, certainly.
Regulations, everybody, grab a thing,
Must be, I think.
renewal.
They're 9 or-
F1, yeah. You're right.
F1, yeah, F1, but of what article?
the article's right. It's article.
The article has an exclamation point in it, Cindy.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
Special thing.
Yeah. Article 5. Not Article 5, sorry.
It's either 9 or. Yeah, it's section 5 of Article 9. I think it's 9.
You better get your old typewriter back out.
Sorry, I don't have this tab, so
Yeah.
you just have to be patient. if you want.
Certainly am.
Okay, so
Oh, my lord. It is Article 1X.
Yeah.
Budget.
one and.
So it's
Ah.
Article 9, Article 9.
H, not an explanation.
Yeah, that's
No,
the explanation.
No, it's an I. It's a,
Thank
it's a,
It's an I.
okay, Article 9, Section 5, F1. There, you got it. Am I-
Oh, that is an explanation, but I see what you mean. Yeah, okay, that's
10
right.
minus 1 equals 9.
Okay, so the application is for a renewal.
Make a
Yeah.
motion to approve application 2305.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Rice, seconded by Mr. Poplawski to approve application 23-05.
This,
Is there any discussion on the motion? Ms. Salsi?
this is a renewal, right?
Yeah.
How many operations does he have in town now?
What does that have to do with this application?
No, I'm just for my own head.
I think that's the only one, isn't it? I can go look at my chart.
Okay, no,
Definitely two, anyway.
yeah,
Well,
Miss-
we approved one that's not gonna start
Yeah.
for 10 years, 7 to 10 years.
okay, all right, you don't have to think about something.
Mr.
I
Santos?
just want to make sure that they're paid up.
They absolutely, it is right here on page check, 62585. It was $320.04.
Here's what last year's processing, did they,
Yeah, it's, the numbers are, we took, approximately 126,000 cubic yards of sand.
okay.
Oh, no, that was removed to date, I'm sorry. Project has been removed to date. 54,000 cubic yards of sand remained to be removed. And removed approximately 16,000 cubic yards this last year.
And I couldn't remember, what I mean by payment is, I thought they, every year they would update and say, okay, yeah, I exported X amount of cubic yards.
Well, that's
and
it,
then
right
there's
here.
a check associated to that.
Yeah, 2 cents.
What do you have to document that's.
It's right here.
I know. but
Oh,
they-
oh,
they
I,
put it
I-
on there. You have a piece of how many truckloads came out, how many, what the weight was, or how do we? verify
no, I
that?
did not ask for that
That-
document. If you're requiring that document and you want to postpone.
Well,
the
it's
vote,
supposed to do that every year.
I will do that. And you can
Either that,
postpone
or
the
just
vote.
throw a number.
Well, I
I'll
think
have it
the
for you next
the
year.
question is how you're gonna document it. You wanna have, we're gonna have to have somebody sit there and.
2 cents. They're
Well,
unpaid.
he just gave you the weight that went up. Okay, yeah, so yeah, there's a little bit of confusion.
But they had it.
Under the old,
But they-
They were still under the old regulation.
Let me clarify. what's
No,
going
no.
on. So.
Just 1 second, just 1 second.
They came up with a cubic yardage and we times that by 2 cents.
Yes, we did.
So I think they paid in advance, is that correct?
No, they paid.
Or they pay up every
They
single
paid
year?
$300.
The $320
That is,
is for the 16,000.
and this is the last year that they're doing it, 2023, they.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
To finish
And
it.
if you want a paper to prove it, then you hold off the
Yeah,
approval,
I'm
because
all
they still have 1 more month.
I just think in the future, you'll have something to back up that number.
Thank you. I will do that.
Ms. Salsi?
and because it falls under the old stuff, they get it at the 2 cents per cubic yard.
Yeah, because that's what they were approved under.
That's why we changed it. Jay.
Okay. God,
We can't.
Why not?
because
Because it was a
it's like you
police limit.
mixed into it more or less,
Well,
right?
yeah, we can't go back and change the conditions
That they got their.
that they
first
were
approval
approved under.
No,
It's-
you cannot.
Yeah, I
So,
get that.
This should be the last year on it.
Yeah.
Do I want to see a big second video that I made?
Should be.
You gonna make me dig that out?
Really
Should be.
solid.
25.
Is there any further discussion?
What?
I think we should play the video.
Yeah, we're gonna look at the video of the site,
It's only 8 seconds.
8 seconds, and then if there's any further
Say that, it might
discussion.
take me longer than 8 seconds to pull it up.
You're under the gun, T, let's go.
Yeah,
Eight
come on,
seconds.
give me a break here.
Will you take you more or less time to confirm the article
You're
number?
over.
Hey, I did it.
Okay, here it is.
I'll get you.
Here it
Maybe
is. Look
pay
up there.
attention now.
Good.
There it is.
Oscar from is done.
Yeah, and it's.
No sound.
Academy Award.
It was a choice, it was an artistic choice. Any further discussion? Hearing none, a yes will approve the renewal, a no will deny the renewal. Mr. Blackmer. Randy Blackmer, yes.
Dave Pelkey, yes.
John Rice,
Ryan Santos, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Yeah, Jane Salty, yes.
Mike Rule, yes.
Melvin Hill, no.
Mr.
You're grumpy.
Lanky,
Could you repeat that again, please? It broke up a little bit. I'm sorry, but
that's okay. This is a vote to approve application 23-05, a gravel renewal.
Yes.
And Joseph Brody Brown, yes. The application is approved. Application 23-07, applicant Jason LaValle, 0 Riverside Road, corner of Riverside Road and Azud Road, map 67, block 53, lot 1H and 1G, zone TCDD, owner LaValle Construction LLC, Rich Road, North Grosvenor, Connecticut. Special permit request for construction of multi-family dwellings under zoning regulations, Article 4E, Section 2-30.
I'd like to make a motion to accept 23-07 for a public hearing.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hill, seconded by Mr. Krogel to accept application 23-07 for public hearing at our next regular meeting on March 27th, 2023. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Williams.
I think we should wait to accept this until it gets through wetlands.
Well, it probably will before, it's coming out next month.
Yeah, but if we accept it, then wetland says they have to accept it because we accept it and they've done that
No, they-
before.
So we just continue.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
Then we're caught up within that 65-day period.
Unless the applicant says that we can continue it.
Then we deny it.
So if we accept this application
For public hearing.
for public
It's
hearing,
procedural.
okay, so if we accept it for the public hearing, hopefully by then he'll have all the, because I've got a ton of questions on this one.
You'll have a chance to ask them during the public hearing.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
The only thing I would like to add to it, to save on paper, if you could take that particular application and put it aside for next month.
Okay,
Mhm.
Okay,
yep.
thank you.
I want triplets, Cindy.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, a yes will accept for public hearing, a no will deny. Mr. Hill.
Melvin Hill, yes.
What did Cindy just want? Those homes?
No, she just wants if you to keep this pack, like.
He doesn't have to do another one for
I
us.
said yes.
Yeah, Jane Salt said yes. So we can discuss it at the public hearing, okay?
Mr. Williams,
Yeah, I guess I'll say yes, even though I don't want to.
Mr. Santos,
Ryan Santos, yeah.
John Rice, yeah.
Dave Pelkey, yes.
Randy Blackmer, yes. Mr. Linky,
John B. Linky, yes.
Joseph Brody Brown, yes. The application is accepted for public hearing. Application 23-08, Town of Thompson Planning and Zoning Commission of 815 Riverside Drive, amendment zoning regulations format change codification. This is to be accepted for public hearing, not to change the regulations, but to change the format of them for the online codification. So this is a vote to accept for public hearing.
Just for a public hearing, okay.
The chair moves the acceptance for public hearing at the March 27th regular meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Poplawski. Any further discussion? Hearing no, a yes will accept for public hearing, a no will deny. Mr. Blackmer. Yes.
Dave Pelkey, yes.
John Rice, yeah.
Ryan Santos, yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Jane Salt said yes.
Mr. Provo.
Mike Rule, yes.
Melvin Hill, yeah.
Mr. Lanky
John B. Linky, yes.
and Joseph Brody Brown next. Item 7, applications received after agenda posted.
I think that's in my memo. If you want to read it. And you know what? I didn't scan this to you, and so John Leakey's not gonna be able to see it. You want me to go scan it to you real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's for my own purposes, what's
It's,
the application number?
This is application.
2306.
Application 23-06, applicant Hani Yusuf, property owner of 274 Riverside Drive, map 87, block 95, lot 39, zone TCDD, request zoning permit with site plan review by commission to operate a business arcade pool hall bar and food, zoning regulations, article 4E, section 2, number 8. Mr. Nelson.
Just the map. Oh, I gave it to you. All right, I'm gonna go scan that. The John, see it. I'll be right back.
Mr. Yusuf, did you want to? Go ahead, Mr. Lanky.
I was just telling, Ms. Dunn to send it by pigeon.
As soon as she scans it to me, I'll pull it up on the screen, John.
All right, thank you.
Did you want to begin with anything? Or the-
So what we're trying to do is we got approval from the town to operate as a dispensary. We came before you guys and you approved it. State had different ideas, so we're not gonna get into that, but maybe a year and a half, maybe never, we don't know when you're gonna get the okay for that. So I'm not gonna have a building that I just put up, just sit there and not being used, so we figure we'll do something for the time being. We thought about the arcade, so he likes to have in town and the food hall upstairs with the view of the river and all that. What I'm asking is probably add, so it will be an additional use, because right now it's, I think, under a certain use, and we have to change it, or not change it, but add business to the title or the use of the building. But I want to make sure that if we do this, like, it's not gonna bite me in the, or shoot me in the foot after. So if we get the okay from the state to operate as a dispensary, we don't have to do any of this back and forth and change it back and whatever. So it would be an additional use to what's already existing there.
So how does that work? Can he add the additional use to it?
Well, that's essentially up to you guys. I mean,
Yeah.
technically, yes, he can.
Yeah,
So
okay,
that's,
thank you. That's, okay, that's all I wanted to know.
the original special permit will
Yeah.
run with the land, right?
Okay.
And this would be the same. If it's an amendment to the special permit, it would run with the land. But Cindy's back now.
It's not an amendment to the special permit. It's just another.
Addition to it.
It's a site plan review with commission, whatever that phrase.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For this, and I put it under business
Okay,
because we do not have a line item in that district for entertainment use. So it's a business,
okay.
and he explained the business is going to be, did you get up and
Yeah.
talk about it?
Yes. You want me to do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're approved. Make a motion that we approve -23/6.
06.
Yeah.
Ms. Salsi has moved to approve application 23-06,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Santos. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Williams?
Motion, I had a discussion on what he has written down here for what he wants to use it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the bar part kind of gets me with the miniature golf on the side of it. I know before I brought up about putting a fence up in between, and it wasn't to hide the place, it was to protect the kids. When I brought it up, was to protect the kids in the parking lot. But now if you have a bar there and people are leaving there drinking, you know, are you still planning on putting that fence up? Because there is gonna be kids' birthday parties and stuff running across that parking lot.
I'm assuming all the bar activities are gonna be at night. I mean, Minister Golf closes around 9 o'clock. So I don't think, but if that's, yeah, I'll put up.
It just. You know, with that right there and having alcohol being served there with kids going through the parking lots, you know.
Yeah.
It kind of jumps right out at me.
I think Brian had something. And then,
Oh, okay.
and then Ms. Salsi.
I just wanted to say that, to that vein, whatever we approve for conditions to operate CBD or, you know, the cannabis shop, apply to this automatically. So the fence would go up. Any other condition that we put up, just in case you do switch it. That's already all taken care of, ready to go. So that's.
We don't want you to lose any money. You put enough money into that place. You know, we, trust me, we know that.
Ms.
That,
Elsey,
that's exactly what I was gonna say. We had given him the conditions before when he came in for the dispensary. And I feel those conditions need to stand with this also, so the fence should have to go up.
Mr. Hill.
Is there any, you got, let's say you get approved for the, to dispense. I mean, can you use that, whatever footprint you have in here, you're gonna have the bar and everything, plus selling?
So that's gonna be on the second floor. the
Oh,
bar and the food
so
hall.
be independent,
Yeah, and downstairs would be if we got it.
Okay.
the dispensary.
that makes sense.
Any further
That's-
discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Lenke.
That's if the state will allow it,
Right,
to have
yeah,
a bar
Yes.
upstairs and stuff and dispensary
We'll go away with
downstairs.
that.
yeah, no, exactly.
I'm just, I know some people, they were talking about it in the other part of the state. And the state, I guess, is looking at that. If you're gonna have the dispensary, there's not a problem with it, but to have an alcohol place at the same time, I guess there was some real concerns. But I don't know how much farther it has gone in discussion, but it's something that you, sir, you must think about. If you're gonna, you know, it's nice to have both ends of the park here, but you know, let's be a little realistic about it. Me personally, if you want the dispensary, fine, then you know, you can keep the arcade and everything. That ain't gonna be a bad thing, but alcohol and that and no, I just step backwards. But anyway, I don't think both of them should be a good item together, but you know, we gotta see what the alcohol beverage people of this state are gonna think about that too.
Thank you, Mr. Lenke. Mr. Rice,
What type of food is gonna, you have in mind?
what sort of food are you?
Restaurant type thing or munchies?
Bar food,
We got that covered.
wings,
Yeah, bar food,
wings, maybe a little popcorn machine.
Rapid delivery from Riverside Pizza.
Right there.
Any further discussion? So the several commissioners raised that the condition of approval would be that conditions set for the original application.
For you, I have it here. Original application.
Yeah, so Cindy's gonna read the conditions that we set on the original application. It has been proposed to add these to this application. After she reads them, we'll do a yes or no vote on those conditions as a whole.
Condition of approval, one, condition the construction of a 7-foot fence in height, solid fence between the dispensary and the ice cream mini golf course business.
And that was the only one?
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
Okay,
And so,
great.
but I'll change the word dispensary to the, this is what.
Yeah.
I'll find a word.
All those in favor of adding that,
Slash dispensary slash whatever.
Arcade.
all those in favor,
Dispensary slash arcade pool.
all those in favor of adding that condition to this application, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, hearing none. The condition is added. Ms. Elsey, will you amend your motion to
I will amend my
approve
motion.
as with conditions? Mr. Santos,
Okay.
second as amended. Mr. Rice,
And a condition is that I would like to see this approved, but minus the bar.
Mr. Rice has, requested to strike the bar as a use for this. Thank you, Mr. Santos.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Mr. Rice has proposed striking bar as a permitted use.
When it was the restaurant, was there not a bar there?
Yeah,
There was,
Where?
adjacent.
or Del Rio, or pick one here. I don't know that he.
I'm opposed to it, but nobody's gonna go play pool and drink apples. Kind of if you wanna have a beer, or it's or playing, so that's the only reason I would say. And like, it was a bar before when it was just.
Yeah, it was a bar before.
And from what he is saying, but if it becomes a dispensary, they're still gonna be separated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure,
And if the-
I'm
the
sure if it becomes.
Yeah, I
Close, we're not gonna close the back.
Correct.
Dispensary.
Just the. It has been proposed, so I'll take a vote on it. You know,
I don't think it's been seconded.
Yeah,
it's
it
very-
has Santos and Salty.
No, I was talking about the condition about the bar.
Sorry, apologies.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
I would just want, what would your hours be for the pool hall? No, something what you got in your head or whatever, if you don't have nothing nailed down.
I'm not sure what is the requirement, there was a requirement you have to close by, I think it was one, they opted to two, I think so. But I'm not sure.
I think that's what a regular bar room is doing.
The bar has to close at one.
At one, right,
I think it's 2 o'clock.
I think it's too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they changed it too.
It's much later.
Barn done is 2 o'clock, so
So it's gotta be two. Mr. Poplawski.
Cindy, just so I'm clear, this is going under food and beverage
No, it's going
establishment?
under business. I gave you the number,
Section 8, it's number 8 on the table.
that's under business, because it wasn't just food and beverage. And there is no specific line item for entertainment, because it's also entertainment. The major part of this is entertainment,
Mhm.
so I had nowhere else to put it. And after consultation with, staff that's in the know, they agreed with me. A couple, staff members in the town hall. I mean, you didn't put an entertainment line in this particular district.
I just think it's being rushed. I mean,
You just think what?
I think it's being rushed. I mean, it just got thrown in front of us and it's,
It's up to you if you want.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Poplawski. Any further discussion? Hearing none, a yes will approve the application with condition, a no will deny.
What's the condition?
The condition is the 7-foot fence.
Okay, yeah.
Before you vote, can I just ask Dave a question as?
Sure.
What do you think it should come under?
I honestly, I don't even have time to look to be fair to him, I think another month, he's waited this long, I think another month isn't gonna hurt it. But to have this handed out, no offense to you, I know what you're trying to do, but I think this needs to be looked at. I mean, with going from a dispensary, there's entertainment, there's a bar room, we're talking about video games, we're talking about all this stuff, and all we're gonna do is put a fence up.
No, I mean, let me get my understanding. There's no dispensary right now, so if this is in lieu of the dispensary. If he gets the permission from the state to put the dispensary in, then he will have to come back in order to get that permitted before, so no.
No, he already has that, he already
It
has
does
that
have-
special permit.
Okay, all right, now I get, okay, so now it's clear in my head, so now I understand what you're saying. Okay.
Mr. Blackmer.
I'd like clarification whether the state will allow him to have a bar and a dispensary in the same building.
I know.
And then you'll have to make the decision. You can.
They do?
No, I didn't say.
I just said,
Go ahead, Mr. Lanky.
I don't think. it's
that's
allowed.
what I just said a few minutes ago. There was some area, it was talked about a dispensary and
Somewhere else.
Mhm.
in a bar and stuff like that, and it was put on hold because of the conflict.
Yeah.
I see the gentleman get the bar in and get this going and have the arcade, and all of that stuff, because that's coming back, and hey, we get up in state New York. Talked to a few friends of mine, I called up there about that. The pinball machines and all of that is big money now, and they got $10,000 contest going and everything. This guy's with nothing around in this area for at least 50 miles I know of. People are gonna come running down there to play the pinball machines or the arcades or whatever he's got. Let's go with that first. then if it does come through and see how the state plays out, the state with the state liquor and the dispensaries, if they can be in one building, then we go forward with that. Like Dave just said, we're rushing this a little too much, but let's give them the go ahead to go with the arcade and stuff. And then if he does get his dispensary, come back, we'll discuss it again. This way, then we won't have anybody nipping at our heels about this, and this. So let's just take it one step at a time. Let's get back to the basics. Let's just let him to go with the building because he's got it up and he's got to make money to pay for what he's got. End of discussion. That's how I feel.
Thank you, Mr. Lincoln. We'll let Mr. Yusuf speak and then
Okay.
you, Ms. Halsey.
So it is one step at a time. So forget about the dispensary. We're gonna do the arcade. You can't just have an arcade. If it failed, then what do we have? So the arcade pool hall, maybe with them two, would be able to pay what we have to pay. And make a little money on that. But then if the dispensary will get approved, then we'll come in front of you guys, like we said, and we'll go with what the state said. If the state said, no, you can't do liquor and the dispensary, well, the liquor is gone. It's not gonna cost me nothing to take a bar down and just keep a pool hall with apple juice upstairs.
There you go. There
Ms.
you
Halsey.
go.
That's pretty much what I was going to ask him if he would be willing to do that, just go by what the
Yeah.
state said and then just get rid of the bar if that's the way it is. But I feel that we should have built this. I think, rather than having you sitting and waiting and having it dormant, it should be, you should be able to utilize it.
Cindy, did you classify this as a new structure or an existing structure?
A new structure.
Okay, thank you. Mr.
Yes.
Sanders.
I just want to add, can we just add one more condition? After the state is ruled, you come back in for approval one way or the other.
I will not do anything you guys don't want.
This way we can leave our options to say yes or no to liquor or cannabis. Either way. I think that'll settle everybody.
What was the condition?
When the state issues their opinion.
Or if the state grants him a
grants,
cannabis
he comes Back
license.
in for one final review and approval from us.
Yeah.
That's it.
If the state grants a cannabis,
Is that legal? He's got a special permit.
Yeah, but he's got a special permit just for the.
Okay, now make it more specific.
Okay.
We already
Good
approved the
point.
cannabis shop
Right.
to further utilize it for a liquor or a bar area. I think that's what.
In the meantime,
In the
yeah, yeah,
meantime.
so
Temporary.
Okay, now I'm.
if the use will combine cannabis and liquor, right,
Yep,
Mhm.
then he will come in for approval.
there you go.
Oh, he'll come back in for
Yeah.
Yes.
a reapproval for what?
Well, that's what the commission decides.
Right now, it's only for.
But under what regulation? Are you asking him to come back in?
The same one that's referenced there as the business.
We're asking him to come back in.
For a
To be
review,
approved, the review of combining.
It just, we've asked,
Okay.
when uses have shifted, we've asked applicants to come back in
Okay.
to be reapproved for a new use.
Okay.
Right, we've done that recently,
yeah,
and so,
So we're asking him to come back in for approval of combined usage.
yes.
and or getting rid of the bar, whatever is the way it's supposed to be with the state.
Sounds good, huh?
Mr. Rice,
Okay.
With the change of, what we're gonna approve tonight. The layout, restrooms and all this other stuff. Have you seen that? Is that adequate?
Yeah, that's what discussed with them.
That's a building office.
Huh?
That's the building office.
That's not,
That's not your, it's the structure and the use of the structure, not how the structure's laid out.
Mr. Rice, to put in mind that yes, we have checked with them and we made sure there's bathrooms upstairs, downstairs. We
that would
added,
be the building inspector.
so the condition has been proposed that the applicant will return if the use shifts to either cannabis or cannabis and liquor.
Okay.
All those in favor of adding that condition, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Mr. Rice? Did you have something else? When you wave your pen at me, I think I think you want to say something.
just that, if the state approves it, we're approving the whole enchilada.
No.
And if it's not-
That's what the condition would say. He'd have to come in back in and chat with us.
So what are we gonna say?
We'll find out when he comes back in. I'm not gonna think ahead. He hasn't come back in with that yet, so,
We may not allow the comment.
and he might not, yeah.
We don't have
But
to.
under either circumstance, you
Look,
can have either.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Lanky,
there was something like 15 permits that were put out, and this gentleman was supposed to have been on that list, if I'm correct, if he, when we were here the last time, there was something like, he was supposed to be on a list, and they were only gonna issue out 15. Well, he didn't make that list. That list could, if he gets back on a list, which could take up to 2 years. Because I was talking to a few people down towards Hartford, and the ones that got the permits are the ones that are gonna be paying the money to put these places in, and they have to be in a specific building and in a specific place where, what's the closest bar, or where's the closest liquor store? They're looking at all of this because it's gonna end up creating, they're looking at, it could end up creating a can of worms. So let's just protect this guy, let him go, continue what he wants to do now. He was willing to come in and ask, to make the change, because he put the building up. So it could be 2 years before we find out what's really gonna happen. So let's just leave it that way.
thank you, Mr. Lanky. Ms. Halsey.
What we're voting on, and this is what I was just saying, we are only voting on whether he can do an arcade and a bar right now. That's what
Arcade, pool hall, bar, food.
Yes,
Mhm.
we're not
What's wrong with
voting
that?
on, we're not voting, what?
Correct.
What's wrong with that, Ms.
Yep.
Halsey?
That's what-
So
I
if I may,
put strip joint in there.
yeah, so I am going to ask Ms. Halsey to again amend her motion to include the newest condition.
Yes.
Mr. Santos, do you second as amended? Thank you. I'm going to call the vote. Mr. Hill.
Alvin Hill, yes. Mike Kruger, yes.
James Halsey, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Ryan Santos, yes.
John Rice, yes.
Dave Pelkey, yes.
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Mr. Linky.
John B. Linky, yes.
I am I am a yes hesitatingly. I wouldn't have put it under business, Cindy.
Where would you?
I would have put it under food and beverage service establishment.
I would have
But
put
it's
the
not-
31.
Because it's not, or 31,
It
which
been
would have
31
special
under
permit,
Special permit.
but it's not a professional office. It's
Yeah.
not like a lawyer's office or a.
It shouldn't have been sprung on us.
But
It should have been
because-
Special permit.
But they started off as a business.
A downstairs.
And because of the, excuse me. Because it's the same level of review, that's why I asked the question about existing or new. I'm voting yes. So it's a unanimous vote to approve the application for a pool hall, arcade, bar, and food with conditions. Thank you, Mr. Geisler. Is it snowing? Great question. Item 8, bulk business, Ms. Dunn, CBA education, or I'm sorry, is this
Okay.
you or is this Tira? My apologies, CBA education and training seminar, planning and zoning.
Is anybody going to that? Did anybody sign up?
I didn't sign up for.
Well, I thought so.
When is it?
Yeah.
Cindy?
Yeah. It-
All right, never mind. I'll look
Saturday.
Yeah, it's Saturday. I'm not sure.
That's not the,
And we can't do.
Ice fishing for me right now.
Mandatory. Is this the mandatory one?
No, no.
Oh, okay, no.
but it counts to your training hours that are required.
Can I go through?
No specific class is mandatory. There are mandatory topics that you must fulfill within a time period, but no specific class thus far has been mandatory.
That'll get you towards your hours. that you
The
need.
first deadline is the end of this year.
Not yet, but
It's a.
Yes.
Two new members, the great.
I would like to do it, but I only have so many more weeks. to ice fish.
It had ice this year?
Yeah, you and I can talk about it, okay, then I'll get it.
It is a good course. I
Yeah,
think.
okay,
It
all
is.
right, because I would like to get.
And then item B, Cindy, I think, are you asking if any of us have attended things that you don't know about?
I have the list here if anybody wants to add to it. You
All
have
right,
to
you're
add
gonna
the
need to
events. Yeah.
Okay, so if you've attended something, get to Cindy and get your name on that list, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Item 9, new business. 9A, Planning and Zoning Commission approval for Board of Selectmen to enter into a lease agreement with the Historical Society, Section 8-24. This was forwarded to us the morning of our meeting last month. And so we asked to look at it this month instead, just so everyone could see it before acting on it. This is
Amy on there?
a statutory requirement.
Is Amy on?
Hi Cindy, I'm here.
Okay.
Ms. St. Ange, good evening.
Good evening. So yes,
Go ahead,
the Board of Selectmen has referred this to Planning and Zoning because of ordinance number 10-014. That references the leasing of a property needing planning and zoning approval. So what this is it's really, it's a formality. It's the Thompson Historical Society oversees the Turtle Lot Memorial Room, the Ramsdale Transportation Collection Room, the Kenny Store. Sorry, my screen is, Ms. Clark is putting a message in. The Kenny Store, Post Office and Village Room, and the Rascavage Auditorium. What this is all about is the Historical Society has an opportunity to apply for a grant that could do some major updates, including handicap accessibility for the Rascavage Auditorium and upgrades to the AV system. But they cannot apply for the grant unless there is a lease in place for these rooms within the 1909 building. So, and according to our ordinance, we have to get permission from planning and zoning to enter into the lease.
Thank you, Ms. St. Ange.
I move that we approve the concept.
I second that. Motion made by Mr. Blackmer, seconded by Mr. Hill to approve the lease. Any discussion on the motion?
We're not approving the contents of the lease, just the.
Right, I'm
The
leaving
right
that
to
up to
go
the lawyer.
The town attorney has reviewed and made revisions that have already been applied to the lease.
Okay, this is just so that we've given it our blessing, that's all.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, a yes will approve, a no will deny. Mr. Hill.
Alvin Hill, yes. Mike Vogel, yes.
Jane Salsi, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Ron Santos, yes.
John Rice, I'll abstain. I'm on the board of directors. When it gets going.
Dave Paplowski, yes.
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Mr. Lanky,
John B. Linky, yes.
Joseph Brody Brown, yes. 9 votes, the agreement is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. St. Ange. Item 9B, Connecticut Federation of Planning and Zoning Agencies Annual Conference. That was in our packets. We got an invitation to that.
And I think I told you that I had wanted to go.
That's the Thursday evening.
Yeah, it's a Thursday evening. And I think John Linky wants to go, he can speak for himself.
Is that one of the things you get credit for?
That's a
Yeah.
Sure. The speaker.
Good dinner.
Well, there was, I think you would get for the affordable housing legislation for that piece, you should get.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, probably. I want to go because of that, because
Mhm.
this issue's already come in.
It's Thursday, March 23rd. It's an evening. It starts at 5 with registration. 5 p.m.
You'd like to go? Oh, go have a party.
Yeah, and I talked, yeah, because.
All right.
Yeah,
Let me
it
know.
depends on the time. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
talk to you about all
Yeah.
this.
I've never been to one of these. and,
It's a
you
good
know,
event. Yeah.
okay.
I may go
It's
to.
in,
It's at the Aqua Turf.
I got a van.
I'll drive.
And you said.
You can use the town van.
What?
It's a
They
Thursday.
do.
Okay, so please look into that. And if you are interested, get to Cindy sooner rather than later.
But I think you have to sign the application,
Well, let me know
Yeah,
when
I'll let
it's,
you know.
and I'll come in and.
okay, all right, so we'll work on this Wednesday.
Okay, that needs to be done by Monday. If I need to sign it, I need to sign it by next Monday.
Okay.
But it's
Today?
coming Monday.
By Monday, March 6th, Monday, March 6th.
It's right
Okay.
here.
Otherwise, it will be difficult to get my signature. Item 9.
So I guess it doesn't need your signature, just need your approval for the members to go. Are you okay? with
I approve any member who wishes to go and staff.
that? Okay. All right. Good. Okay.
Good night.
Up for the treasurer.
I was gonna say, let me look at the budget before.
That's right,
So,
Jack.
So just for clarity, if anybody on this commission, and this is relevant to the next item as well, wants to go to one of these educational things where there is a fee associated and the commission budget line is out of money, I also have a budget line in my office account, and as long as that has money in it, I
Then everyone.
get a pony up.
Great, thank you, Madam Planner. Item 9C, Connecticut Land Conservation Conference.
Which is this. So you guys saw this via email. I happened to receive in the mail a single beautiful color brochure that has the schedule of events. Now, let's be clear, I do not believe that any of these necessarily fulfill those requirements. You'd have to, really look and compare what the required topics are with this. However, it just looks really cool. I have not yet decided myself if I am going to attend. If members of this commission or conservation or anything do want to attend, the chances are higher that I will also attend, just to go along. But I'm going to pass this around so you can look at we'll go this way first.
Thank you.
Am I right? And there's more people on this side. But same thing, let me know sooner rather than later if you wish to attend, and I will register everybody at once. I need to check, first of all, to see if we are members of the Connecticut Land Conservation Conference. We were at one time, that may be lapsed. There's a difference of $20 per registration. So, but either way, as long as I've got the money in my budget or there's money in PZC budget, we'll cover it.
Thank you, Tira. Item 10, approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes, January 23rd, 2023, Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Motion made by Mr. Santos, seconded by Ms. Salsi to approve the minutes of the January 23rd meeting. Is there any discussion? I would just point out in section 10, there's a slight typo in the chairman's last name that I would encourage to address, but other than that, yeah, no further discussion. Hearing none. A yes vote will approve with corrections. A no vote will not approve. Mr. Blackmer.
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Dave Popelski, yes.
Abstain, not in attendance.
Brian Santos, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Jane Salter, yes.
Mike Kugel, yes.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Mr. Lenke
John B. Linky, yes.
and Joseph Parodi Brown, yes. Item 10B, January 25th, 2023, bless you. Planning and Zoning Commission Subcommittee meeting, subdivision of draft review.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Motion made by Mr. Santos, seconded by Ms. Salsi to approve the minutes of the January 25th meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, a yes will approve, a no will not approve. Mr. Hill.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Mike Kugel, yes.
Jane Salter, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Brian Santos, yes.
John Rice, yes.
Dave Popelski, yes.
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Mr. Lenke.
John B. Linky, yes.
Joseph Parodi Brown, yes. Item 10C, February 1st, 2023, Planning and Zoning Commission Subcommittee meeting on subdivision draft review.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Motion made by Mr. Santos, seconded by Ms. Salsi to approve the minutes of the February 1st meeting. Any discussion?
I know.
Hearing none, a yes will approve, a no will not approve. Mr. Blackmer.
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Dave Popelski abstained, not there.
John Rice, yes.
Brian Santos, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Jane Salter, yes.
Mike Kugel, abstain.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Mr. Lenke.
John B. Linky, yes.
Joseph Parodi Brown, yes. The minutes are approved. Item 11, reports of officers and staff. Town of Thompson budget report was fine until I just spent it by telling everyone to go to this.
No, actually, we're at 64% over 8 months, which I think is
Right on the
good.
money.
We're right where we need to be. I'm happy to report for my second month here.
Excellent. Great work. Thank you, Mr. Glassman.
Nice.
Item 11B, planner.
No question. No question.
I'm sorry, did you have any questions
Do you
for?
have a question, Mr.
I'll make a
Bruce?
motion, we move on.
You're good, great, thank you. Ms. Patton.
Hello, okay, so I have all of Marla's comments received. I have incorporated them all into a working draft as a red line with comments on the side. I have distributed it to all of you for review. What I have not yet done is gone back through to like really highlight, but I am generally of the opinion, having seen it now, that we can probably do one more subcommittee meeting. If I create a, a highlighted, this is because most of what Marla provided is either administrative, meaning like changing the order of things, or relatively minor language things. I think that there's some definitions, there's some stuff on bonding, something else that's escaping me that probably could use another once over. I feel very confident in the amount of work you guys have put into it already that we can do, like I say, one more subcommittee. Following that subcommittee, I'll clean it up, like the outlining and stuff, send it to council. And once council has sent it back to us, we can theoretically accept it for public hearing at the March meeting for a public hearing in April, and then be all set. But you guys have to approve that, obviously, and I am going to suggest 2 options for dates. Oh, what are we in March now? Or we will be in March. So I could host a Zoom meeting on, well, theoretically, this coming Monday, the 6th, which would make it possible for Joe. I have no problem with that. I can do that. Alternately, Monday, the 13th.
I can't, that's the ZBA meeting.
Okay, so we'll scratch the 13th. So Monday, the 6th, Monday, the 20th, or Wednesday, the 22nd.
Monday, 6th.
I'd go for the 22nd. But guys gonna need time to read that, it's my opinion, but. On stats.
I would generally agree with you, Cindy. The benefit for the 6th is that the chair gets to attend because it's
I
going to
know,
be.
but I'm-
Yeah, but I can,
22nd.
the 20th and the 22nd, I'm available as well.
22nd, I'm available.
Oh, that's right. You said you're back. Okay, so the
Okay, so
20th,
the 22nd.
20th or 22nd. So a Monday or a Wednesday.
Do both.
We've done both dates, and both days of the week seem to be generally good for everybody, but it's up to you guys.
22nd.
22nd, does that give you enough time to get it ready for?
It gives me
Just
the
gonna have it
maximum
ready
amount
to-
of time to get
But I
it.
mean, does it give you enough time to turn it around for the 27th?
Sure. Yes,
The 22nd?
yes.
Any objection to the 22nd?
There'll be a Zoom meeting.
That's a Zoom
Yes.
meeting, yes. 7 o'clock.
I'm writing it in ink. 7 PM. Subdivision. Regs. Subcommittee. Okay, it's in ink in my book. That's like being written in the Bible.
Anything else?
Probably. Yeah, there was something we wanted to bring up.
Main Street.
Right, there was something that somebody asked about Main Street and I had
house-
the
The
answer.
house on the,
Oh, the house, yes. So for whatever it's worth. I've been in that house. I was in that house 2 years ago when Superior Bakery still owned it. It was very close to being a tear down at that point. And I, like many of the people here, I am the last person to say a house should be a tear down. The foundation on that house is the real problem. It's not really like if you walk in it. The foundation was sketchy there. It's had 2 years of open water going into it. I suspect strongly that that house would cost more to rehab than it could ever be worth after the fact. Having said that, if you would like to speak to the applicant, I don't think there's any reason to object to that conversation and, maybe having him look at it with you. But I will tell you, at this point, I would not enter that building. And I did not say that 2 years ago. So just for whatever that's worth, I just wanted to toss that out to you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I understand that.
When I went out with
I've
Zach,
done like 4 or 5 houses in town like that nobody else has done.
yeah, when I went out with Zach to look at the property, he wouldn't even, he said, I'm not even take them out, so it was too dangerous. But if you want me to, I will give them your number. I have your number in the files, if it's the same number. Maybe a couple of years
Yeah, I
ago.
mean, I'd entertain it, but they seem pretty adamant on not even going that route.
I will say 2 years ago, when I was in it, I went in it with the owners. They were talking about tearing it down, and I was very much trying to convince them not to. At that point, I believe it was still salvageable, but I think it's a loss.
Randy, Randy and then Brian.
I think they wanted to. In the proposal, they were talking about making that a
Right, yeah.
lower area for the water. to run.
Infiltration behind it,
It's
yeah.
part of the, part of the.
Yeah, the green space, so that it helps with the drainage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a comment, I was gonna say under commissioner comments, our commission is not preventing you or stopping you from making that phone call.
Oh, I know.
Right, I think people are saying that we're
They're
not.
trying, yeah.
We're not stopping you from doing that call.
Trying to give you a heads up.
You can sell whatever you want, right? So. I just wanted to make that note clear to everybody.
Has the historical society went through and done anything before they demo it? Because I know it's one of the registries. I don't know if there's any photographs that need to be taken before it's demoed. And
It is probably a contributing structure to the the historic mill district.
Written about it and just make sure that we can.
Yeah, I have that complete record in my office of all the contributing structure.
Permit already from what it sounded like? I'm assuming they already been.
Yeah, I just know that we're working with the historical society.
Thank you very much, Ms. Penn. Ms. Dunn.
Yeah, I have a couple of quick things. First, I think I've been here for a little over 5 years, and I think it's the first time I've ever had an application that came in after.
Hmm.
So I guess I need to know what you expect when the application comes in after. Do you expect to hear it that night, or do you expect to say, yeah, okay, that's
Everything.
great, we're gonna hear it next month, though? What do you want?
Everything.
What?
Everything. Photographs.
I can't hear you, Alan.
Well, I mean, the point is, right, it is an item on our agendas.
Right.
Right, there's a line item for applications after, so we have to assume that
Either
the
that-
possibility exists. I mean, you said, I don't know, I mean, maybe I could definitely count on one hand the number of
Right.
that I've seen.
Yeah, I
But
can't even remember.
It's,
so-
it's on our agenda, so,
The other thing on that,
and so for the record, and, you know, certainly as a commission, we can choose not to act on it that evening
Okay.
if we
Oh,
choose.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's just put it off till next
Yeah.
month, but the
Yeah.
consensus wasn't there, so I was.
So the other thing,
Go ahead.
the other issue I'd like to address, because of what the item number I put it under. I actually looked for the definition of business in our regulation, and there's no definition. So that has also had
Yeah.
a lot to do with why I put it under business. The other thing, this is probably one of the happiest days that I came to work today, because in my email was our new applications that we're going to be hooked up to Permalink. And these applications are going to be on our web page. And what Tara has done, she has provided the link to go on Permalink to fill the application. But she's also made it available for those who do not want to use the Permalink.
Yeah.
And then I have all the applications in our little case over there for people to fill out. And I'm just very proud because it's consistent, looks professional. I just thought I'd let you guys know, so.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, they are all online now.
Yeah.
However, because my admin roles are not, I don't have full admin control. Some of them appear in strange places, and I can't figure out how to fix that yet, but they are all online.
No, I don't think you're all online.
The 5 that you gave me today are online.
No, I think you missed one or something, but we're gonna go that Wednesday.
Yeah, well,
Wednesday,
I'm at home and check in tonight. I'm
Yeah.
going online to see. Okay, thank you. That's
Okay.
They look
You're excited.
great. Cindy showed them to me.
Well, it's just.
They look great.
I mean,
And
I had John, some of the application I was getting still had John on thing.
Yeah.
so thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Tara, for your. Item 12, correspondence 12A, minutes of the zoning board of appeals meeting on February 13th, 2023. Any question or comment on that? Item 12B, NECOG notice to adjacent town. Kind of interesting that our neighbors are continue to issue a moratorium.
Yep.
Good for them. Item 13, signing of Mylar. I see none. Take a look at it, Randy. Item 14, ZBA review, monthly update on the cleanup updates auto. Cindy has been attaching it for us as well. Were there any comments or questions on that? Excellent. Item 15, citizens' comments.
Valerie, put your hand up.
Ms. Clark.
Just wanted to comment briefly. I know that Ms. St. Ange remarked that I was typing into the chat. People sounded very concerned about the storm. I thought rightly so. So I went outside and checked and nothing's coming down. So you're still okay to go.
Still good. Thank you very much, Valerie. Appreciate that.
When you said that, they're gonna talk.
Ma'am.
So just quickly, I know you approved a lot of housing tonight. The recreation center, right? So we just agreed to put an arcade in a location that's potentially gonna draw more kids, and then we're gonna put cannabis there. And then there's more houses coming up, right? And there's 60 units, so you're talking 100 units. Just if you guys could think of all the kids and everything else and just kind of take a step back for a second, maybe, and look strategically at what our town needs and what we're approving. I know it's really difficult, and I appreciate all of you sitting in those chairs. But everybody coming here piecemeal, I don't know if we're really seeing the big picture of all the land we're giving away just for housing and not for businesses. We really need to bring in some businesses to this town to keep us moving and going. So I applaud you for what you're doing, but I ask you to also potentially look strategically at if all of these one holistically become too many for us. So thank you for what you do, but just a thought.
Would you
Thank
mind
you,
repeating your
Assistant.
name and address for me?
Sure, Nicola Krasnowski, Mount Hill Road.
Could you spell your last name?
Sure, CHRZANOWSKI.
And Nicola?
Yeah, NICOLA. Right, I just learned that one like 11 years ago.
Thank you.
And the address again?
49 Mountain Hill.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kuznats. Thank you.
Nobody else?
Okay, item 16, commissioners' comments.
So,
Mr. Poplawski.
Cindy, that was nothing against you. I was just, by no means was I questioning your ability.
Okay.
I just felt that it was rushed and was really looking for another month on that topic. So that's all it was. It was nothing.
Okay, thank you.
It was
Not
towards,
faulting
it was
it.
towards the rest of us.
No one took the lead. They almost got it.
Mr. Santos.
Bring up the paintball again. I want to know what we're doing with that.
I've actually have done, except I receive pictures all the time from, one of them, from John Linky, who, they're sent to him and then he refers them to me. I'm just gonna be very honest. I've done nothing
Yeah, okay.
since our last conversation.
But the intent is to do something.
The intent is there, it's on that pile.
What can we do?
So-
I'm gonna offer my assistance with this if you want.
How would you,
Drafted. Go ahead, Joe.
how do you send it to the lawyer? How do we enforce that? You're not gonna go over there and enforce it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No,
What are you gonna
I'm
do?
listening to what you're saying.
I- I thought that becomes a police matter. We can only do a cease and desist, which is what you did, right?
Well, I have told them, yes.
Okay,
But this is
so-
over a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what can we actually do to make
If you don't
things
follow up-
except notify the police?
Police,
The police would have.
It's gonna be simple.
Well, civil,
If-
whatever, yeah.
It would have to be something that the town would bring that person to court
Okay,
for
yeah,
not abiding by the cease and desist.
okay.
Isn't there a fine for not abiding by that?
We have, I don't think, I have never applied a fine.
Is
And I
there
don't
one
know
in
if
our
anybody-
schedule?
Huh?
Is there a fee schedule?
Or fine, no, that's by state statute. The fines are by,
For you in 2
no,
seconds.
you do not have any fines in there, they're by state statute.
Mr. Santos.
So we issued the cease and desist as a business.
No, because they said it wasn't.
No, but that's it. That's exactly my point. They said that they stopped operating the
As a
business,
business,
but they continue to operate
as a recreation.
as a recreational thing. What I'm asking for is, I want to know what the violations are as a recreational item,
Yeah, I don't know.
right? Which we haven't written, which the lawyer is going to ask for.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I want those violations to be established. We've talked about them before. And then the call to the lawyer, right?
Right.
So I wanted to start with that step, and I'm more than willing to assist you in
That would be great.
coming up with this violation.
That would be
All right,
great.
very good.
So
Just one second, Mr. Lincoln, go ahead.
I just want to be a little bit of a contrarian on this.
Yeah.
Because we do clearly have the ability to regulate for or against the business use. They've been clearly denied for the business use, and that's what the cease and desist is. Now, I just want to remind everybody that we have plenty of people coming at us all the time and saying, you can't tell me what to do on my private property. If they are having a party with 30 of their best friends every weekend, they have every right to do it. And that probably includes that activity, as long as they're not operating as a business.
That's why I want to issue as violation, because the fencing that they put up, whether it's permanent or not, we can come up with our own rationale of the fencing around the recreational thing. They have wood fencing that's over 6 feet, that is a violation.
Right.
They have curb cuts, that's a violation. There's several things that are violating outside of having a party, right? That they cannot do. And the community over there is upset. Obviously, pictures are being taken and we haven't done anything, right? So it's time to do something.
John sent me a picture of a trailer truck delivering product there. So we have to.
Four pallets of pellets, you know, the cans of paint pellets.
The paint pellets.
Or pallets, pallets?
Yeah.
People
Four
buy
pallets.
2 at a time.
2 pallets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two pallets at a time?
Yeah, my brother does.
Wow.
But I don't know where there's a violation in that, right? So,
Right,
like,
right.
I am more black and white. What does our regulations say and what are they violating? Receiving goods for,
Yeah, I can't, yeah.
what are you saying about that, other than they receive some stuff? Okay,
Right.
Brian, you live there, up there, right?
I do.
Okay, so are they still, I mean, I go on that road once or twice a week.
It's very active.
I'm sorry? Okay.
I mean, not right now. It's
Okay.
kind of like, yeah, breaking.
Well, the weather's been good.
So, yeah, so Mr. Santos has offered his help to the CEO.
Tonight, though, so.
Each commissioner is going to make a lengthy comment before we adjourn though, Brian, just so you know.
I don't have a lengthy
So let's do
comment.
it.
I got a question and it's got to do with Cindy's job. Now, you know, she want, what would we have to do to get her more hours to do what she does?
But does she want?
So
more
I
than-
budgeted,
Yeah.
so I think I talked about this last, anyway, so I budgeted in the 2024 budget for P and Z. Me and Cindy and Tara discussed what the hours were that she would be willing to work. I talked with HR and Cindy has agreed to work more hours and I budgeted for those hours where there would be, she would not get any medical. And so there was some things we had to consider. And she still did have to be under a threshold, but we did budget for additional hours for
Oh,
Cindy.
good. Good.
So,
But
and a
that
couple
budget
other
has-
line items.
Yeah, so
It's, yeah.
for the budget.
Oh, no.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Thank you. And thank you for that answer, Mr. Poplawski. Mr. Krogel.
Okay, I agree with David in the sense that if anything is submitted after, which it can be submitted to us to be put on the next month's
Yeah.
agenda. Without approval, I mean, you know, just to make the motion to accept it for next month's agenda. Then we're not rushed on anything or.
Okay, but then, yeah, I mean, but we need to then examine why we have an application received after the agenda has been
Because it's
posted.
after the deadline.
Well, yeah, because I just quickly looked at the bylaws before I even asked you that question, because that was part of me, but I didn't see any reference to that.
And there, yeah, I'm sorry, but there may be something that does come in that's, we could act on, you know?
Mhm.
It,
I just
Well,
think we have that ability.
We have the option to postpone it for the next.
We do.
Right, yeah, so I mean, I think going forward, it should be put on the agenda, you know, and. We as a commission have the ability to say, we'll table this for next week, yeah, or next month rather.
Okay.
Or put it under new business,
No.
I'm sorry, what was that, John?
or put it under new business that night. If
Yeah.
you could, if you wanted to.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an application, so it should go under applications.
Yeah,
Okay, item 17, the next meeting of this commission is Monday, March 27th, here and on Zoom. Hopefully, we won't be fighting a snowstorm. That'll be 7 p.m., March 27th. Item 18, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to
Second.
adjourn.
Motion made by Ms. Solacey, seconded by Mr. Blackmer. All those in favor?
you got it.
9:49 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Everyone be safe.
I'm gonna go study snow.
Make some snow angels. It's yearning.
John B.
What do you want? What do you want?